Chapter 301. Countless people were watching from all around the entrance of the Monster Beast mountain range. The images on the screen changed frequently, and most of them stayed in the inner area. Several times, the images stopped at GU and the others. This team is interesting. It's actually the sixth prince and Qi Ling, from the Qianyuan martial house. Although I haven't seen the other three people, they look very powerful. Looking at this team's performance, I think they should be in the top 10 or even the top 5. At most, they should be in the top 5. This time, the second prince and the fifth prince's teams are too strong. The performance of GU and the others in the inner area attracted the attention of many people outside. In their minds, this team could be called a dark horse. Because before the monster hunting ceremony began, many teams have been announcing and hyping themselves up. Especially the second prince and the fifth prince's teams. They were very high profile in the days before the monster hunting ceremony began. For example, the first and second place of this monster hunting ceremony were already reserved by their two teams. Apart from that, all the other teams with a little strength were also arrogant and imposing. Only this team did not have any news at all. If they did not see it on the screen, they would not even know that the sixth prince had formed a team. Although they were not very optimistic, they were looking forward to whether this dark horse team could make it to the top 5 in the end. At the same time, in the Monster Beast mountain range, GU and the others naturally did not know what was happening outside. They were still hunting beasts. After about an hour, they had already hunted more than a dozen second-grade beasts. Their efficiency was very good. At this time, they were dealing with a second-grade, 8th-grade giant ape. This giant ape was huge and had amazing strength. It also had a certain level of intelligence. He was dragging a large tree that he had plucked out of nowhere as he charged ferociously towards GU and the other four. Boom! Boom! The ground under their feet trembled slightly. Cheng Yiye and Cheng Jiangjiang's eyes immediately became serious. Zhuang Weiran's expression was better. She knew Ji used true strength, but for some reason, Qi Ling seemed to be worried. Even when the giant ape was in front of her, she did not have much reaction. When it was about 10 meters away, the giant ape suddenly stopped. Using the inertia of its huge body, it threw the tree trunk in its hand out. The tree trunk was smashing towards GU and the others, and the visual impact was huge. If he was hit, the consequences would be unimaginable. GU, Zhuang Weiran, Cheng Yiye, and Cheng Jiangjiang dodged in time, only to see Qi Ling standing there alone. "What are you doing?" Jiyu shouted when she saw that Qi Ling still hadn't dodged. At this moment, Qi Ling suddenly came back to her senses. Only then did she notice that a huge tree was flying toward her. However, it was already too late for her to dodge. She subconsciously closed her eyes. Zhuang Weiran panicked as well. She didn't expect such a sudden turn of events. Jiyu clicked her tongue. Without thinking, she turned into a bolt of lightning and returned to Qi Ling. Ding! Master has used Lightning Luster Transformation. Lightning Luster Transformation gained experience. 1000*999x. He stretched out his hand, and lightning wrapped around his hand. Then he cut the tree in half. Hearing the sound of the tree trunk breaking, Qi Ling opened her eyes and realized that it was GU who had saved her. The slightly intelligent giant ape seemed to have realized the terrifying strength of this young man in front of it. It turned around and ran away. Seeing this, Zhuang Weiran heaved a sigh of relief. Fortunately, Ji was powerful enough. Otherwise, it was hard to imagine what would have happened to Qi Ling. At this moment, she heard Cheng Jiangjiang murmuring in disbelief. Weiran, he is more than defensive mystic realm level 9, right? Zhuang Weiran didn't know how to explain. Let's talk about this later. Let's go and check on Ling first. After that, she immediately went to Qi Ling's side. Ling, are you okay? I'm fine. Qi Ling smiled bitterly. There was a trace of self-blame in her eyes. She had made the most basic mistake of being distracted during the competition. She had even caused more trouble for GU. Just as she was about to turn around and apologize to GU, she suddenly felt her hand being held by someone. Then, GU's deep voice sounded. Come with me for a while. It was obvious that Ji was angry. Even though Qi Ling was shy, she restrained herself and didn't dare to struggle. Wait here for a while. I have something to tell her. Jiyu, Zhuang Weiran. And Zhuang Weiran left with Qi Ling. He stopped when they came to a corner where the array couldn't see. During the whole process, Jiyu didn't say a word. The more Jiyu didn't speak, the more Qi Ling felt that Jiyu was angry. Now, can you tell me what happened recently? Jiyu looked straight into Qi Ling's eyes and asked seriously. Qi Ling almost died just now. This was no joke. This time he had to ask clearly. Chapter 302. All the screens at the entrance of the Monster Beast mountain range showed the scene where Jiyu scared off the giant ape. Anyone with a discerning eye could tell that the giant ape was at level 8 of 2nd grade. It was as difficult to deal with as a level 9 of 2nd grade monster beast. However, it was scared off by that young man. Where did that young man come from? Why haven't I seen him before? To be able to scare off a level 8 of 2nd grade monster beast, this young man's cultivation is at least at level 9 of the defensive profound realm. I guess he is a genius specially invited by the 6th prince. It seems that this Dark Horse team has a high chance of entering the top 5. For a moment, it caused quite a stir. At the same time, somewhere in the Monster Beast mountain range, Qi Ling who felt guilty, did not hide it anymore and told Jiyu everything. After listening to her, Jiyu sighed silently in his heart. Sure enough, it was Zhuang Weiran's doing. She had completely brainwashed Qi Ling. Jiyu was so speechless that he did not know what to say. At this time, Qi Ling was very shy because she had just told Jiyu her true feelings, which was equivalent to a confession. She was looking forward to it, but was also afraid. She was looking forward to what Jiyu would say next, but at the same time, she was afraid that Jiyu would really respond to her confession. She was so contradictory in her heart. No matter what, she could not get rid of the barrier between her and men. However, Jiyu was thinking about how to brainwash Qi Ling back to her original self. In his opinion, Qi Ling was about to be brainwashed into a fool by Zhuang Weiran. But no matter how he thought about it, he couldn't think of any useful ideas. Seeing Jiyu looking down and not saying anything, Qi Ling could not help but ask in a low voice, Jiyu, are you angry? I'm not angry, Jiyu said. Since Qi Ling interrupted his thoughts, he could only temporarily give up on turning Qi Ling back to her original self. Okay, Qi Ling nodded, but she was still a little worried. Jiyu noticed this and asked directly, what's on your mind? You can tell me everything, and I will find a way to help you solve it. Qi Ling hesitated for a while, wondering if she should say it out loud. It's true. It's best if you don't keep it to yourself. You'll feel much better if you say it out loud. Jiyu persuaded. He felt that this could be a breakthrough point that could allow Qi Ling to return to normal. In the end, Qi Ling still decided to reveal the truth. Actually, I encountered something a long time ago that made me subconsciously hate men. I want to get close to you, but at the same time, I'm afraid of getting close to you. Subconsciously, I don't know what to do. Jiyu was speechless. How would he know what to do? However, when he calmed down and thought about it, this kind of contradictory and strange mentality could be solved by looking at the root of the matter. Is it convenient for you to tell me what happened? Jiyu asked. Qi Ling hesitated for a long time, but in the end, she shook her head. Okay. Since she was unwilling to say, Jiyu did not force her. You don't have to think about those unnecessary things now. Focus on participating in the monster hunting ceremony. Qi Ling nodded silently. Although she was a little depressed, she did feel much more relaxed now that she had said so many things in her heart. A lot of time had passed, and Jiyu could not let Zhuang Weiran and the others wait for too long. Then, he took Qi Ling back to where they were. While walking, Jiyu thought to himself. So far, he knew 2 things. First, Qi Ling should have a good impression of him, but now, after being brainwashed by Zhuang Weiran, it turned into liking him. Second, Qi Ling had experienced something that caused her to have a psychological shadow of men. Although it was a little innocent, the reason why Qi Ling became like this was more or less related to him. He decided to help Qi Ling solve the knot in her heart if he could. If he could not, there was nothing he could do. Chapter 303. Zhuang Weiran was painstakingly explaining to Cheng Yiye and Cheng Jiangjiang what had just happened. Seeing that Ji Yu and Qi Ling had finally returned, she felt as if she was relieved. Let's not talk about this for now. Let's continue hunting demonic beasts. We can't waste too much time. Zhuang Weiran immediately stopped the topic and said to Ji Yu, "Young master, what did you and Ling do just now?" Ji Yu didn't say anything. Instead, she communicated telepathically with Zhuang Weiran. "I won't be calculative about what you did just now. Don't teach Qi Ling those weird things in the future." Even though Ji Yu didn't say it out loud, Zhuang Weiran understood what Ji Yu meant. She scratched her head and chuckled. Ji Yu was helpless against Zhuang Weiran's act of acting dumb. Ji Yu and the rest continued hunting demonic beasts. Cheng Ye didn't care too much. However, Cheng Jiangjiang didn't believe what Zhuang Weiran said. She stared at Ji Yu, who was walking in front of her. She felt that this guy's true strength was definitely not as simple as 9th level defensive profound realm. She felt that Zhuang Weiran was fooling her. A second grade 8th level demonic beast, and an intelligent giant ape at that. To be able to scare the giant ape away, this guy's strength was definitely much stronger than the giant ape. If he was only at 9th level defensive profound realm, it wouldn't be enough to scare the giant ape to that extent. This meant that this guy's cultivation was probably above the Tongxian realm. At the age of 16, he was already at the Tongxian realm. When the two were together, it was needless to say how terrifying it was. Although this guy's name was Yumu when he reported his identity, she felt that this name might be fake. At the same time, she also felt that Zhuang Weiran was intentionally hiding this guy's identity. Would a 16-year-old Tongxian realm martial artist be willing to be a small guard in the palace? It was impossible even if she thought about it. The more she thought about it, the more curious Cheng Jiangjiang became. What was this guy's real name? And the most important thing was, how high was his true cultivation? After that, Ji Yu and the rest continued hunting demonic beasts as usual. Qi Ling, Er's condition was much better than before. She wouldn't be distracted in battle. However, Ji Yu could feel that Cheng Jiangjiang was looking at her from time to time. He didn't know what was going on, but it was very baffling. Right at this moment, Ji Yu suddenly noticed that there were two groups of people in front of them. In front of them was a field of rubble. The ground was filled with large and small stones. There were two groups of young men confronting each other. He did not recognize any of these people, but he could see their specific cultivation bases. Most of them were at the 6th level of the defensive profound realm, and there was a 7th level defensive profound realm warrior on each side. None of this mattered. What Ji Yu was most concerned about was that there was an injured wild beast lying between the two teams. Taking a closer look, his back was covered with sharp thorns, and his eyes were flashing with a vicious aura. This was a 2nd grade 9th layer bramble demon dog. However, this bramble demon dog seemed to have suffered a very serious injury, and its strength was greatly reduced. Obviously, the two teams found out that the bramble demon dog was injured and wanted to take advantage of it. Otherwise, the two teams would only be able to escape. How could they have the time to confront each other here? This demon beast was found by us first. Why should we give it to you? Since you don't want to give it to us, then let's compete to see who can kill that demon beast first. The two teams were competing when they suddenly noticed that there were people coming from not far away. They all tacitly did not make a move and looked in that direction at the same time. They saw a man and 4 women walking towards them. Although the 4 women's beauty was very rare, now was not the time to think about these things. There were formations everywhere monitoring everything that happened here. Even if they had the heart, they did not have the guts. Please take a detour. One of the young leaders of the team said, with an unfriendly expression. Detour? Ji Yu narrowed his eyes. Sorry, we want this demon beast. Hearing this, the young man's face suddenly sank. Do you want to deal with all 10 of us at the same time? Their two teams fighting for the Bramble Demon Dog was enough, and they would not allow a third party to participate. Under such circumstances, they directly chose to cooperate and drive away this team that suddenly appeared first. Chapter 304. It's not impossible. Ji said, facing 10 people, there was no fear on his face. You. Seeing this, the young man felt that something was amiss. Brother Zhao, let's do it together. Are we still afraid of that kid? At this time, the other team said to the young man. Hearing this, the young man named Zhao Cohen thought about it. They had 10 people on their side, and they were all considered to be famous geniuses in the Kanglan Empire. There was no reason to be suspicious. Stop talking nonsense. If you want to go, then go together. Ji said with a slightly impatient tone. Go. Being scared by a kid. How could Zhao Cohen bear it? With a cold shout, the 10 of them attacked at the same time. At the same time, Cheng Yu and Cheng Jiangjiang also used the array that they had prepared. In less than a few minutes, the 10 people were all defeated. They didn't expect that the other 5 people's cultivation was higher than theirs, and there were also 2 array masters. The situation was terrible. They directly gave up on the injured Bramble Demon Dog and fled. In order to not violate the rules of the beast hunting ceremony, Gu deliberately left these people alive. Otherwise, these people would have died long ago. At the same time, the scene on the outside screen changed. The people outside already knew the strength of this Dark Horse team, so they weren't too surprised. Then, Gu slowly walked towards the Bramble Demon Dog. Now, he should deal with this demon beast. In the next moment, a shocking scene happened. The Bramble Demon Dog suddenly knelt down in front of Gu. Gu was stunned at first, then suddenly found that the Bramble Demon Dog's abdomen bulged. What's wrong with it? Zhuang Weiran asked in surprise. Not only her, but the other 3 girls were also surprised. This is a female dog. If you look carefully, you will find that it is pregnant. Gu said, I guess it is begging us to let it go. The 4 girls were silent. Facing this mother, who wanted to protect the child in her belly, they couldn't do anything. Gu, let it go or not, you decide. Zhuang Weiran sighed. Ji was just about to open her mouth when she saw the Bramble Demon Dog slowly run to a certain spot and use its mouth to pick up a few leaves on the ground. Then, the demon dog lowered its head and laid on the ground, letting out a low whine. This is Pearl Spirit Grass? Ji immediately walked over. Pearl Spirit Grass, what is that? Zhuang Weiran asked curiously. This is a very rare spirit grass. I never thought that there would be such a precious item in the inner area. Ji picked up the Pearl Spirit Grass in front of the Bramble Demon Dog, slightly surprised. The Pearl Spirit Grass was only as long as a finger, and there was a small oval-shaped fruit on the top, so it was named the Pearl Spirit Grass. Oh, Zhuang Weiran nodded. Although she didn't know much about materials, she could tell that this spirit grass was very valuable. However, she was more concerned about whether Ji would let go of the pregnant female dog. So, what do you want to do with it? Zhuang Weiran looked at the Bramble Demon Dog with pity. In her heart, she hoped that Ji would let go of this pregnant bitch. Of course, let it go, Ji said without hesitation. The Bramble Demon Dog not only didn't attack them, but also took the initiative to hand over a Pearl Spirit Grass. He wasn't a person who liked to kill, so he would let it go. The Bramble Demon Dog seemed to understand Jiu's words, and a drop of tear flowed out of the corner of its eyes, as if it was grateful to Jiu. Looking at this scene, Jiu couldn't help but go forward and stroke the demon dog's head. The demon dog didn't resist at all, letting Jiu stroke it. Jiu couldn't help but sigh in his heart. He only hoped that the female dog wouldn't die in the hands of others. Then, Jiu and the others left here. However, at this moment, the Bramble Demon Dog that was still lying on the ground suddenly disappeared. The nearby area was very quiet, as if nothing had happened. Chapter 305. Time flew by, and half a day passed. Jiu suppressed her strength to defensive profound realm LV9, and her speed of killing beasts was very fast. The beast hunting ceremony had entered its climax, and so did the audience outside the venue. The betting time had ended, and many people were looking forward to the final result. Now that half a day had passed, it was enough for them to judge the final result. The first was the second prince's team, the second was the fifth prince's team, and the third was they all had a rough idea of the rankings in their hearts. As for the sixth prince's team, which was Jiyu's team, they were either fifth or sixth in the eyes of these people. Now, they just had to wait for the final result. In the Beast Mountain range, all the teams were fighting to kill beasts in the inner area. Jiyu and the others were no exception. There was only half a day left before the end, and Jiyu felt that it was about time to show her skills. In fact, it wasn't really showing her skills. As long as she could get the first place, it would be fine. Not long after, they met another team. This was already the 10th team they met. Everyone was fighting to kill beasts, so it was normal to meet each other. The teams they had encountered before had all been beaten back by them. But this time, the team in front of them was a little special, as Jiyu saw the fifth prince among the 5 people. It was obvious that this was the team led by the fifth prince. And the strength of the team was not ordinary. Other than the fifth prince, who was a defensive profound realm, the other 4 were all at least a defensive profound realm LV8, and one of them was a defensive profound realm LV9. In this beast hunting ceremony, they were definitely one of the strongest teams. But unfortunately, they met Jiyu. But Jiyu was a little concerned about the LV9 defensive profound realm young man, because she remembered Zhuang Weiran said that the second prince and the fifth prince were in cahoots with the evolving temple. In the Kanglan Empire, there were not many who were at defensive profound realm LV9 among the younger generation. And this young man was dressed strangely, with a lot of black cloth wrapped around his body, and his face was full of evil, so it was very likely that he was from the evolving temple. Or rather, he was once captured by the evolving temple and became like this. Chen Chong. At this moment, Qi Ling suddenly spoke. What? Do you know him? Jiyu asked curiously when she saw that Qi Ling was looking at the sinister young man. He used to be a disciple of the Qianyuan martial house, and he was ranked first. Of course I know him. Qi Ling explained. However, he disappeared mysteriously 2 years ago. No one knows where he went. I didn't expect to meet him here. She still blushed a little when she talked to Jiyu. Mysteriously disappeared for 2 years? I understand. Jiyu more or less understood now. He was now certain that Chun Chong was most likely a member of the evolving temple. It was fine if they didn't provoke him, but if they dared to provoke him, he would teach them a lesson. What do you mean? At this time, Zhuang Weiran whispered to Jiyu. The other party's overall strength was very strong. Unless Jiyu made a move, they had no chance of winning. However, if Jiyu made a move, her true identity would be exposed. Don't worry. Just do what you need to do, Jiyu said calmly. The fifth prince, Zhuang Kunji, was also surprised. He didn't expect to meet Zhuang Weiran here. Make a move? Shinshong also noticed the team in front of him and said in a low voice. Especially when he recognized Qi Ling, he couldn't help but pay more attention to her. Zhuang Kunji shook his head expressionlessly. After that, the 2 teams walked past each other without any intention of making a move. When the crowd saw this scene, they began to talk about it. It's strange that the fifth prince didn't make a move. Yeah, the teams that met the fifth prince before were all beaten up badly. This time, they didn't even make a move. Actually, it's not strange. That's the sixth prince's team. The 2 of them are related by blood. If they made a move, it would be a big deal. I remember there are rumors that the fifth prince and the sixth prince have a bad relationship. Although killing was not allowed in the beast hunting ceremony, it didn't say that fighting was not allowed. Injuring or crippling people from other teams would affect the speed of the other team's hunting. This was also a method to compete for a ranking, and it was also a method that was tacitly agreed by the rules. Jiyu walked past the fifth prince and his team calmly. Cheng Yi and Cheng Jiangjiang were vigilant, because they could sense that the other party's strength was not ordinary. Until the 2 sides walked away, neither side had the intention to make a move. They seemed to be very harmonious. However, at this time, Chun Chong suddenly turned around and looked deeply at Jiyu's back. What's wrong? Zhuang Kunji asked. Nothing. Qin Sheng immediately turned back. Chapter 306. Even though Ji Yu didn't turn around, she could feel Chun Chang's gaze. Although she didn't know what that gaze meant, she didn't take it to heart. Fifth brother, I didn't expect to meet you here. Suddenly, at this moment, a heroic voice came from not far away. Hearing this voice, Ji Yu immediately realized who the owner of the voice was and turned to look. She saw a burly young man wearing the same clothes as Zhuang Kun Ji walking over. If she wasn't wrong, this burly young man should be the second prince of the royal family. Behind the burly young man were 4 people. The burly young man was at the 9th level of the defensive profound realm. The other 4 were all at the 8th level of the defensive profound realm and didn't have any distinguishing features. Ji Yu couldn't tell which one of them was from the evolving temple. The overall strength of this team was on par with Zhuang Kunji's team. Second brother, Zhuang Kunji responded coldly and didn't say anything else. At this time, the burly young man also noticed Ji Yu's side. But when he saw Zhuang Weiran, he seemed to understand something and didn't pay attention to them anymore. Ha ha! Fifth brother, you're still as cold as ever. The burly young man laughed and patted Zhuang Kunji's shoulder. Contrary to the 5th prince Zhuang Kunji, this second prince's character was very bold and unrestrained. Just say what you want to say. Zhuang Kunji moved away from the burly young man's hand and said coldly. Okay. The burly young man didn't mind at all and said, It's like this. I just found an spirit tree with an spirit fruit, but there's a 3rd rank monster guarding it. If it's just me, I can't get close. 3rd rank monster? Zhuang Kunji didn't even think and shook his head. Forgive me for not accompanying you. Against a 3rd rank monster, not to mention 1 team, even 2 teams together wouldn't be enough. Even if it was the spirit fruit, he wasn't willing to take such a big risk. Don't be anxious. Let me finish first. The burly young man hurriedly said, although that demonic beast is a rank 3 demonic beast, it has just broken through to rank 3 and its strength is not stable yet. If both of our teams go together, there's a 90% chance of success. Zhuang Kunji hesitated for a moment before nodding. I'll go with you and take a look. Ah, that's right. The burly youth said excitedly. Let's go. By the way, little 6, do you want to join us? The burly youth had only taken a few steps when he suddenly asked Zhuang Weiran, who was not far away. Hearing this, Zhuang Weiran was about to reject, but she heard Ji Yu's voice directly entering her heart. Promise him first. Hearing Ji Yu's mental communication, Zhuang Weiran didn't know why Ji Yu was doing this, but she still said to the burly youth, since second brother is personally inviting me, then I'll accept. The burly young man was slightly taken aback, and a hint of surprise flashed in his eyes. He had only said it casually, but he didn't expect Zhuang Weiran to really agree. That's not right. With his understanding of his sick sister, she wouldn't agree so easily, right? However, the burly youth didn't have time to think so much. He still had to rush to Yinling's shoes place in case something unexpected happened. Without thinking too much, he immediately set off. After the second prince and the 5th prince's group had walked far away, Zhuang Weiran and the rest slowly followed. At this time, Zhuang Weiran softly asked Ji Yu, "Why did you want me to promise him?" She actually wanted to ask just now, but she had to wait until second brother and 5th brother were far away before she could ask. "That Yinling fruit is quite useful to me," Ji said. Yinling fruit, he knew what it was. It was a mysterious fruit that could increase an alchemist's soul power. A normal person's soul power was basically predetermined at birth, and it was especially difficult to increase one's soul power later on. At this time, a fruit that could increase one's soul power was extremely rare. Simply put, the Yinling fruit could be said to be a priceless treasure in the Kanglan Empire. Even if one had the money, it would be hard to get one. This was also why the second prince and the 5th prince took the risk to face a rank 3 demon beast. Even if it was just a rank 3 demon beast, its level of danger was not low. Chapter 307. Gu was an alchemist, so the Yin spiritual fruit would be of great use to him. Hearing Gu's words, Zhuang Weiran basically understood. If it wasn't for Gu's request, she wouldn't have agreed to second brother's request. Don't be fooled by second brother's simple-minded appearance. He was actually very cunning. But with Gu around, she didn't have to worry about second brother playing any tricks. Ding! Master took a step forward. Earth rank low grade, profound skill, lightning luster transformation, gained experience. 1 by 999 times. Ding! Master took a step forward. Earth rank low grade, profound skill, lightning luster transformation, gained experience. 1 by 999 times. Gu and the rest silently followed behind the burly youth. The burly youth didn't care. To put it bluntly, he could deal with Six Sisters' team by himself. After an unknown amount of time, the burly youth's footsteps suddenly stopped. That's the Yin spiritual tree in front. There's a bramble demon dog, which is a third-grade demonic beast, guarding there. He opened his mouth to speak. Bramble demon dog? Hearing this, Gu and the rest were all stunned. They had just let go of a bramble demon dog. Why was there another one here? If it really entered the third grade, then it shouldn't be the previous one. Although the bramble demon dog was a second-grade, ninth-grade demonic beast, it was pregnant and couldn't have broken through at such a special time. Let's go. After speaking, the burly youth deliberately said to Gu's team, and you guys too. The burly youth and Zhuang Kunji's two teams took the lead and rushed forward, while Gu and the rest followed behind unhurriedly. Not long after, a strange old tree appeared in front of them. This old tree should be the Yin spiritual tree. There were about 8 or 9 light red fruits on the Yin spiritual tree, which must be the Yin spiritual fruit. In addition, there was a bramble demon dog resting beside the ancient tree. You guys go and lure it away first, then I'll go and pick all the Yin spiritual fruits, then we'll distribute them. The burly youth immediately ordered. Hearing this, Zhuang Kunji frowned, clearly dissatisfied. At this time, Jiu also saw the bramble demon dog. In the next moment, he was shocked. Go! Jiu blurted out. What happened? Hearing Jiu's sudden voice, Zhuang Weiran had no idea what was going on. Qi Ling, Cheng Ye and Cheng Jiangjiang were also shocked by Jiu's words. Don't worry so much, just follow me. The situation was urgent, and Jiu had no time to explain. Seeing Jiu's ugly expression, Zhuang Weiran and Qi Ling both realized the severity of the situation. They had never seen such an expression on Jiu's face before. Even though they didn't know what was going on, they decided to listen to Jiu. Although Cheng Ye and Cheng Jiangjiang were still at a loss, they chose to follow Zhuang Weiran. Whatever Zhuang Weiran did, they would do. As for the burly youth and Zhuang Kunji, they didn't take Jiu's words to heart. They all thought that Jiu was scared out of his wits by the bramble demon dog and wanted to escape. But at this time, the bramble demon dog that was resting suddenly woke up and let out a terrifying roar. Roar! This roar was very unusual, and it had great penetrating power and lethality. The burly youth and Zhuang Kunji couldn't react at all, and they were defenseless against this roar. The roar went straight to the depths of their bodies. Their brains and souls were instantly attacked. Even the burly youth couldn't resist, and his face turned pale. The rest of the people were even worse, and they even knelt on the ground with a painful expression. Only Qinchong was slightly better. Only Jiyu was able to resist in time. His expression changed slightly, and he quickly threw out a defensive array diagram. Ding! Master activated a third-rank lower defensive array. Array attainment gained experience. 600 by 999 times. A defensive barrier appeared in a flash, covering Jiyu, Zhuang Weiran, and the 4 girls inside. Even so, it couldn't completely block that shocking penetrating power of the roar. But this was enough. The 4 girls didn't suffer much damage. As for Jiyu, he wasn't affected in the slightest. But he couldn't be happy, because when he first saw the bramble demon dog, he felt that this bramble demon dog was extremely terrifying. Jiyu couldn't see the true level of this bramble demon dog, which meant that its true strength was at least above his. Just broke through third rank? This bramble demon dog was obviously pretending. In the end, the burly youth believed it was true. At this time, Jiyu's expression was very serious. This bramble demon dog should be a fourth-rank demon beast, which was equivalent to a human martial cultivator who had reached the spirit profound realm. Although he had the confidence to retreat, he couldn't protect Qi Ling and the rest. Chapter 308. This bramble demon dog of fourth rank or above has a huge body. At this time, it slowly got up, giving Jiyu a stronger visual impact. Compared to the pregnant demon dog before, this demon dog is at least twice as big. Those sharp fangs, flashing a terrifying cold light. They saw the bramble demon dog slowly walking towards them. That incomparably heavy pressure made the burly youth, Zhuang Kunji, and the others' faces even more ugly. Only so few people came. Suddenly, the bramble demon dog opened its mouth slightly, and a majestic voice came out. The bramble demon dog's fist-sized eyes stared at them, like an emperor looking down on the common people. This demon beast can actually speak human language? They were all astonished. In fact, they were more afraid in their hearts. Because at least a fourth-rank demon beast can start to imitate human language. This also means that the bramble demon dog in front of them is at least fourth rank or above. Facing a fourth-rank demon beast, they have no room to resist. The burly youth, Zhuang Kunji, and the others' faces were ugly to the extreme. To be able to encounter a fourth-rank demon beast in the inner area, there's probably nothing more unlucky in this world than this. Even Jiyu's face was dignified. The inner area is generally the gathering place of second-rank demon beasts. Third-rank demon beasts are very rare, at most not more than 3 to 5. Those 3 to 5 are just not able to mix in the core area, so they have to bow down to the inner area, so their strength is not too high. But now even a fourth-rank demon beast has appeared. Zhuang Weiran and Qi Ling, one on the left and one on the right, gently tug at the corner of Jiyu's clothes. Perhaps this will make them feel a little more at ease. As for Cheng Yiya and Cheng Jiangjiang, they subconsciously hid behind Jiyu. Now that Jiyu is the strongest human here, they can only rely on Jiyu. At this time, the bramble demon dog's back suddenly shot out several sharp and slender thorns, flying towards the burly youth, Zhuang Kunji, and the others. Even Jiyu found it hard to catch them with her naked eyes. She could only barely see a few black lines flashing past. Even Jiyu, who was at the late stage of Tongxian realm, could not see clearly, not to mention those who were targeted by the bramble demon dog. However, the burly youth and Zhuang Kunji seemed to have already made preparations. The two of them used some unknown method and disappeared in the blink of an eye. The other 8 people were in a miserable state. All of them were pierced by the thorns shot by the bramble demon dog. Due to the ferocious impact, he was even sent flying several meters, or even more than 10 meters away. Blood splattered everywhere. In a single exchange, all 8 of them had died. Even Chun Chong, who was at the 9th level of the defensive profound realm, died without any suspense. Moreover, Chun Chong was the most miserable. He was nailed to a large rock by the thorns that pierced through his body. He was already dead, and his feet couldn't even touch the ground. Even large cracks had appeared on the large boulder. Gravel and dust flew in the air. It was enough to show how terrifying the impact of these thorns was. Seeing this scene, Jiyu couldn't help but feel a little frightened. If these thorns were shot towards him, he might be able to dodge. As a member of the royal family, Zhuang Weiran should also have some life-saving methods. However, Qi Ling, and the rest would be in danger. At 2 actually escaped. The bramble demon dog seemed to be slightly surprised to find that 2 people had escaped. Jiyu didn't find it strange. That burly youth and Zhuang Kunji were both princes of the royal family. They definitely had life-saving methods. If the 2 princes died so easily, then he would find it strange. However, Jiyu wasn't in the mood to think about this. If nothing unexpected happened, the bramble demon dog's next target would be them. His brain worked quickly, thinking of how to deal with the crisis in front of him. Facing such a ferocious fourth-stage demonic beast, he couldn't help but break out in a cold sweat. He wasn't afraid of himself, but he had Qi Ling, and the rest by his side. However, the Bramble Demon Dog's next move shocked Jiyu. The Bramble Demon Dog lightly stepped, and the ground shook. It directly shook off 2 or 3 Yinling fruits on the Yinling tree. Looking at the Bramble Demon Dog's move, Jiyu was suddenly stunned. However, he still didn't dare to act rashly. Instead, he cautiously probed the Bramble Demon Dog. What is the meaning of this? Don't worry, I won't kill you. The Bramble Demon Dog said calmly. You let my wife go earlier. These 3 Yinling fruits are my reward to you. Hearing this, although Ji was very surprised, he decisively went over and picked up the 3 Yinling fruits. He didn't doubt the words of the Bramble Demon Dog King in front of him. After all, if the other party really wanted to kill them, he would have done so long ago. There was no need to waste so much words. The only thing that surprised him was that the pregnant female dog was actually the wife of the Bramble Demon Dog King in front of him. He couldn't help but feel lucky that he let the pregnant female dog go. Not only did he save the lives of his people, but he also got 3 Yinling fruits. I don't like killing. It was these humans who hurt my wife. Naturally, they have to pay the price. It's a pity that 2 escaped, the Bramble Demon Dog King said. Hearing this, Jiyu instantly understood something. It turned out that the injury of the female dog was caused by the 2nd prince and the 5th prince's team. This was so dramatic that Jiyu didn't know what to say for a while. You can go now. The Bramble Demon Dog King continued. The rest of the Yinling fruits belong to me. Don't even think about it. Chapter 309. Let's leave now. Jiyu turned around and left without hesitation. Although the king of demon dogs seemed to be a little silly, no one could guarantee what a fierce beast would do at any time. If they could leave here safely, they should leave as soon as possible. The other 4 girls also quickly followed Jiyu. After seeing the scene of those people dying, they all had a lingering fear. When Jiyu and others were far away, the king of Bramble Demon Dogs crawled on the ground again. It was also at this time that Jiyu, who had calmed down, remembered something. Before the Yin Spirit fruit was separated from the Yin Spirit tree, that is, before it was fully mature, the Yin Spirit tree would be full of very strong demon aura. This had a great effect on demon beasts. That was why the king of Bramble Demon Dogs occupied the Yin Spirit tree. The 3 Yin Spirit fruits that had just been shaken down were also fully mature, so the rest Yin Spirit fruits that were not fully mature could not be distributed to them. But it didn't matter. Jiyu was already very satisfied to be able to save the lives of her own people, not to mention that she also got 3 Yin Spirit fruits. After this, everything was as usual. Except for the 2nd prince, the 5th prince, and Jiyu, no one knew what had just happened to the Yin Spirit tree. After all, the king of Bramble Demon Dogs, a 4th-class demon beast, was there, so the monitoring formation could not be arranged there. At the same time, at each entrance of the Monster Mountain range. That's strange. Why only the 2nd prince and the 5th prince are there? We're their teammates. I don't know. I saw them with the 6th prince's team, a total of 15 people walking together. Could it be that they encountered some powerful demon beasts? The 2nd prince and the 5th prince's faces are very bad, so it's very likely. It's a pity that the 6th prince's Dark Horse team was completely wiped out. At this time, on the screens at each entrance of the Monster Mountain range, the 2nd prince and the 5th prince were sitting on a stone and panting, looking very gloomy. Seeing this situation, it was inevitable that people wondered if something had happened. In the Monster Mountain range, the burly young man got up from the stone first. He was in a very depressed mood now and couldn't sit still at all. Now that he was the only one left in the team, the efficiency of hunting demonic beasts would be greatly reduced. There was still a long time before the beast hunting ceremony ended, and it was very likely that someone would overtake them in the end. Originally, he felt that he should be firmly in the first place, but now he felt uncomfortable. Zhuang Yin, you kept saying that the demonic beast had just broken through to rank 3. but you actually lied to me." At this time, Zhuang Kunji's heart was filled with anger. He couldn't help but blame the burly young man. He even directly called out his second brother's name. How would I know? That bastard was actually hiding his cultivation level. Zhuang Yun was already depressed, and her tone became angry. But he quickly calmed down and said, "Forget it. There's no point in us brothers arguing here. Why don't we think about what to do next?" Zhuang Kunji, who was about to explode, was also appeased by Zhuang Yun's words. Indeed, he was right. The matter had already passed, so there was no point in arguing. "What else can we do apart from working together?" Zhuang Kunji said. "Cooperation is a must, but there is another way." Zhuang Yun said. "What is it? Tell me." Zhuang Kunji immediately asked. "That is to rob the weaker teams and take all of their gains. Naturally, we will be able to stabilize our ranking." Saying this, Zhuang Yun's eyes flashed with a sinister light. "Okay." Zhuang Kunji hesitated for a while, then nodded. In this situation, he could only be a bandit for once. There was no other way. "Then that's it, and I will explain it in detail." Zhuang Yun continued. "We will split the demonic beast skulls equally, and we will not interfere with each other's hunting. What do you think?" "Okay." Zhuang Kunji hesitated for a while, but could only nod. Zhuang Yun's rule seemed to be fair to both sides, but it was actually very disadvantageous to him. Originally, the points he accumulated from the demonic beast skulls were lower than Zhuang Yun's, and Zhuang Yun's cultivation level was much higher than his. In the end, Zhuang Yun's ranking could only be higher than his, and there was no possibility of him being lower than him. But Zhuang Kunji had no choice but to accept this condition. Right now, he was the only one left in the team. If he cooperated with Zhuang Yun, he was confident that he could get second place. On the other hand, if he didn't cooperate with Zhuang Yun and relied on himself, he might not even be able to get into the top 3. Zhuang Kunji felt helpless. In this kind of situation, what other choice did he have? Chapter 310. Yes, Zhuang Yun said, "I just don't know how Sixth Sister is doing. She should be fine. She must have something from Father to save her life." Zhuang Kunji said, "But the other 4 in her team should be dead." Even though he didn't like Zhuang Weiran, he was still worried. After all, Zhuang Weiran was still his own flesh and blood. "I hope Sixth Sister is still alive," Zhuang Yun said. "If we can meet her, we can ask her to work with us." Hearing this, Zhuang Kunji couldn't help but frown. His second brother didn't seem to be worried about Sixth Sister's life and death. Instead, he wanted to use Sixth Sister. After that, Zhuang Kunji remained silent the entire time. He had to be more vigilant when he was with second brother Zhuang Yun. After this, Zhuang Yun and Zhuang Kunji didn't stay in the inner area. Instead, they went to the outer area. First of all, the teams that were hunting monsters in the inner area were more or less strong. It would be troublesome for the 2 of them to deal with them. Second of all, the screens at the entrance were mostly showing the inner area. There were very few screens showing the outer area. This made it easier for them to do certain things. Of course, this didn't mean that the arrays in the outer area weren't working. All the arrays were being monitored by the palace. It was just that they wouldn't show every image to outsiders. On the other side, Ji was dealing with something. That was to reasonably distribute the 3 spiritual fruits in his hands. However, the 4 girls all agreed to give them to him. In fact, they weren't alchemists. There was no need for them to use spiritual fruits to increase their soul power. Seeing that Zhuang Weiran and the others didn't want them, Ji didn't hesitate and gladly accepted the 3 spiritual fruits. However, after thinking about it, he gave them some pills that weren't of much use to him in his storage ring. Although they didn't do much before, he didn't like to eat alone. Giving them some pills that weren't of much use to him was a good idea. Anyway, those pills weren't of much use to Jiyu. Cheng Ye and Cheng Jiangjiang are not very embarrassed. After hesitating for a long time, they accept Jiyu's medicinal pills. Zhuang Weiran didn't stand on ceremony at all. She took the pill and smiled. "Take this as a gift from you. I won't return it in the future." Ji Yu just smiled faintly and didn't say anything. Only Qi Ling did not accept it. She looked at Ji Yu's outstretched hand, and her face gradually turned red. What happened? Ji Yu couldn't help but ask when she saw Qi Ling acting in such a manner. Qi Ling bit her lower lip, as if she was too embarrassed to say it out loud. In her eyes, Ji Yu's actions were a little subtle. On top of that, Zhuang Weiran's words had unintentionally led her. It was as if Ji Yu was giving her a token of love. At the same time, Qi Ling also felt a little uncomfortable because Ji Yu didn't only give it to her. Instead, she gave it to everyone. Ji Yu naturally didn't know what Qi Ling was thinking. He just felt that it was very strange. Why are you hesitating? Just accept it. After saying that, Ji Yu directly stuffed an exquisite jade bottle into Qi Ling's hand. Even though the pills in the jade bottle were no longer of any use to him, if he were to give it to Qi Ling, it would take her 2 to 3 months to fully absorb its medicinal effects. Qi Ling was taken aback by Ji Yu's action, and she began to panic. His actions made her feel that he was giving her a token of love. At this moment, Qi Ling's heart was pounding like a little deer. Until now, she didn't realize that she had completely become an idiot in love. After dealing with the matter, Ji Yu immediately went to study the Yin spiritual fruit. If he knew what Qi Ling was thinking, he would probably be dumbfounded. In fact, there was nothing much to study. Ji Yu directly threw a meatball-sized Yin spiritual fruit into his mouth. He just wanted to see what the effects of the Yin spiritual fruit were. The Yin spiritual fruit had a unique texture. It melted into water immediately after entering the mouth. It was as if he had eaten nothing. With the help of the system, the water in the Yin spiritual fruit disappeared instantly. Ding! Master has eaten a Yin spiritual fruit. The effect has increased by 999 times. Unsurprisingly, the effect of the Yin spiritual fruit was also increased by 999 times. At this moment, Ji Yu felt that his soul power had improved. Soul power was different from mental power and willpower. There was no difference in levels between soul power and willpower. Even so, he could clearly feel the increase in his soul power. After all, this was a person's soul power. The effect of the first Yin spiritual fruit was excellent. Ji Yu immediately ate the remaining 2 Yin spiritual fruits. Ding! Master has eaten a Yin spiritual fruit. The effect has increased by 999 times. Ding! Master has eaten a Yin spiritual fruit. The effect has increased by 999 times. As Ji Yu had lived 2 lives, his soul power was much stronger than ordinary people. After eating a total of 3 Yin spiritual fruits, his soul power had increased by more than 1 level. However, what Ji Yu neglected was that Zhuang Weiran, Cheng Yi, and Cheng Jiangjiang were watching him eat 3 Yin spiritual fruits at the same time. They were all stunned. As for Qi Ling, she was still immersed in the token of love and didn't have the energy to pay attention to them. I say, you ate so many Yin spiritual fruits at once. Are you sure you'll be okay? Zhuang Weiran was the first to speak. Chapter 3:11. At this time, Ji Yu realized that there was a big problem with what he just did in front of Zhuang Weiran and the rest. With the system, he was completely different from normal people. No matter what pill or spirit item he took, there would be no side effects, and he would only absorb the effects. Because of this, he got used to it and neglected the fact that he was very different from other people. I'm fine, my body is strong. Ji Yu smiled a little awkwardly. He could only explain it this way. All right, as long as you're fine. Zhuang Weiran didn't think too much. Ever since she met Ji Yu had shocked her too much, and she was already used to it. Cheng Yi was pure and didn't care too much. As for Cheng Jiangjiang, although she didn't say anything, she was thinking about a lot of things. In just 1 or 2 days, she found that this young man had many secrets. Besides his true identity being a mystery, his true cultivation was also a mystery, including when he was attacked by the Bramble Demon Dog King's roar. This young man actually used a defensive array in the blink of an eye, and that defensive array was at least third grade. Although as long as one knew a little about arrays, anyone could use the array diagram to activate the array. But to be able to activate a third-grade array in such a short time, Cheng Jiangjiang had rarely seen. At least, she didn't think she could do it that fast. In other words, this young man's array skills had probably reached a terrifying level. But there was also the possibility of a blind cat running into a dead mouse, which made her even more confused about this young man. And this time, even if Cheng Jiangjiang didn't know much about alchemy, she knew what Yinling fruit was. Taking 3 Yinling fruits at the same time was like taking 3 very high-grade pills at the same time. If it was a normal person, they would have been blown up by the terrifying energy and died on the spot. But this young man didn't even have the slightest effect. The more Cheng Jiangjiang interacted with him, the more she felt that this young man was a bottomless pit. She was more curious about this young man's true identity. However, it was worth mentioning that the Kanglan Empire was relatively closed off. Jiyu's previous deeds could not reach the shattering army empire. Moreover, Cheng Jiangjiang was invited by Zhuang Weiran not long ago, so he just came to the Kanglan Empire a few days ago. In other words, Cheng Jiangjiang didn't know that there was someone like Jiyu in the Kanglan Empire. This further increased Cheng Jiangjiang's curiosity. How could such a genius appear in the Kanglan Empire? Disregarding everything else, just in terms of cultivation, reaching the Tongxian realm at the age of 16 was a martial genius that didn't even exist in the shattering army's empire. Unknowingly, Cheng Jiangjiang stood in place and thought about these things for a long time. Ji was about to leave when she noticed that Cheng Jiangjiang was still standing there in a daze. She reminded him, "Why are you standing there in a daze? Time to go." Oh, only then did Cheng Jiangjiang regain his senses. She stared at Ji Yu's back closely, as if she could see through Ji Yu's heart. Feeling Cheng Jiangjiang's gaze again, Ji was already used to it, so she didn't care much about it. "You too. Don't be distracted during the battle later." Ji Yu also noticed that Qi Ling was absent-minded, so she reminded her. He was also a little puzzled. Qi Ling was already fine, so why was she acting so abnormally now? I know. You don't need to remind me." Qi Ling retorted. She finally sobered up a little and didn't continue to think about what had just happened. However, she still treated the jade bottle as a very special keepsake. "It's good that you know. Next, let's hurry up and hunt the demonic beasts," Ji Yu said as they walked. Then, Ji Yu did gradually use a small part of her strength. Ding! Master has performed the first move of the Lone Peak 9 Swords, Brilliant Sun in the Sky. Experience gained, 400 by 999 times. Ding! Master has performed the first move of the Lone Peak 9 Swords, Brilliant Sun in the Sky. Experience gained, 400 by 999 times. Since the first move of the Brilliant Sun in the Sky was an Earth-grade sword technique, it was too eye-catching. Ji Yu only used the upper-grade Profound-grade Lone Peak 9 Swords. Although the power of the Lone Peak 9 Swords was far inferior to that of the Brilliant Sun in the Sky, it could still kill second-grade demonic beasts as easily as cutting tofu. In this way, no matter what demonic beasts Ji Yu encountered, she would quickly kill them. This would definitely attract the attention of the spectators, but she had been suppressing her aura to the 9th tier of the defensive Profound realm, and her sword technique was also very irregular. No one could see her true cultivation level, and no one could tell that she was performing the Lone Peak 9 Swords. No one could recognize that she was Ji Yu. Chapter 312. Time passed quickly, and the beast hunting ceremony was coming to an end. Ji Yu's sword was like a harvesting machine, killing countless beasts. Once the competition was over, all the contestants left the Beast Mountain range. Even if someone wanted to continue hunting beasts, the skulls wouldn't be counted as points. Ji Yu and the others were no exception. When the time was over, they immediately left the inner area. Everyone ran to the same exit. This was the place that was set before the competition so that everyone could hand in the skulls. Outside the Beast Mountain range, most of the audience had already arrived at the exit. The scene was rather chaotic because no one knew what the final rankings would be. Originally, they thought that the second prince's team would be the first and the fifth prince's team would be the second. But since they saw the second prince and the fifth prince acting alone, they hadn't seen the second prince and the fifth prince's whereabouts. Now, they didn't know what was going on. This was something that they didn't expect. The ones who felt the most uneasy were those who had already placed their bets. If an accident really happened, they were afraid that they would lose everything they had. After about 10 minutes, all the contestants arrived at the designated exit. A group of people was looking for the second prince and the fifth prince, but they found that only the second prince and the fifth prince came out together. Obviously, the rest of the second prince's team and the fifth prince's team were probably dead. A lot of people were instantly disheartened, but they still had some hope in their hearts and pinned their last hope on the ranking announcement. According to the rules of the beast hunting ceremony, after the competition, all the contestants had to hand over the storage ring containing the skulls to the palace staff for inspection. But the ranking results would only be announced after 3 days. Inspection, review, confirmation of points, confirmation of rankings, confirmation of rewards, and so on. Such a tedious process would take a lot of time. Jiyu naturally understood the rules and handed over the storage ring containing the skulls to the palace staff. Which team? Who's the leader? The palace staff asked first. Zhuang Weiran. After that, Jiyu handed over the storage ring to the palace staff. But just as he was about to leave, he bumped into Zhuang Yun and Zhuang Chuanji. You're still alive. Zhuang Yun and Zhuang Chuanji were shocked. They all remembered that this young man was a member of Zhuang Weiran's team. Is there a problem? Jiyu replied indifferently and walked back to Zhuang Weiran's side. Zhuang Yun and Zhuang Kunji's eyes followed Jiyu's figure and discovered that Zhuang Weiran's entire troop was still alive. At this moment, they were so shocked that they were speechless. That was a 4-stage beast. If Zhuang Weiran was the only one alive, they could understand. But Zhuang Weiran's entire team of 5 was still alive. They didn't dare to believe it. However, Jiyu didn't care what these two guys were thinking. It seems that the final results will only be announced in 3 days. There's no point in staying here. Let's go, Jiyu said to Zhuang Weiran and the others. The 4 women had no objections and followed Jiyu out. Jiyu only cared about the final result. Whatever happened next had nothing to do with him. He only needed to announce the final result. At this moment, a bunch of carriages and coachmen had already stopped nearby. The beast hunting ceremony had a high flow of people. On such a good day, they naturally came to snatch business. Jiyu casually asked for a carriage, and the 5 of them sat down together. They were going to the ancient Yaoguang city and then take the spirit ship back to the king's city. Zhuang Weiran and Qi Ling sat on the left and right sides of Jiyu, while Cheng Yiya and Cheng Jiangjiang sat opposite. After a busy day, even the usually energetic Zhuang Weiran was tired. She fell asleep in a daze and leaned her head on Jiyu's shoulder. Feeling the weight on his left shoulder, Jiyu realized that Zhuang Weiran had fallen asleep. He wanted to call Qi Ling over and let Zhuang Weiran lean on her shoulder so that he could concentrate on cultivating. But he didn't expect that the weight on his right shoulder would also come. Qi Ling actually fell asleep at this moment. Jiyu was speechless for a moment and could only sit there obediently. But he couldn't calm down and cultivate like this. TSK, TSK, TSK. At this moment, Cheng Jiangjiang's voice sounded. Cheng Yiya covered her eyes with both hands and a faint blush appeared on her face. In fact, she didn't cover her eyes at all and was staring at Jiyu in a daze. The atmosphere was a little awkward. Jiyu didn't know what to say. Chapter 3:13. What's wrong? She really didn't know what to say, so Jiyu just said casually, nothing. Cheng Jiangjiang shook his head and said, I'm just curious why Zhuang Weiran trusts you so much and how many secrets you are hiding. At the end, Cheng Jiangjiang's tone became more and more serious. Maybe it's because I'm more handsome. Jiyu said seriously. This sentence directly extinguished Cheng Jiangjiang's serious mood. Don't flatter yourself. Cheng Jiangjiang rolled his eyes at Jiyu. Ji kept this posture until the carriage arrived at the ancient city of Yaoguang. Fortunately, his physical fitness was very strong now, so he didn't feel tired at all. When the carriage arrived at the station, Ji woke up Zhuang Weiran and Qi Ling. At this time, the two girls realized that they had fallen asleep leaning on Ji Yu's shoulder. Qi Ling, was stunned, and in the next moment, her face flushed red. Not only was Zhuang Weiran not shy at all, but she was also in the mood to tease Qi Ling. After a while, Qi Ling became like a steam girl, and steam was about to come out of her head. Okay, don't go too far. Seeing this, Ji immediately reminded Zhuang Weiran. Okay, Zhuang Weiran naughtily stuck out her tongue and didn't continue to tease Qi Ling. After getting off the carriage, the five of them bought tickets and boarded the spirit ship. Ding! Master cultivated Xian Qi for 1 minute. Martial arts cultivation gained experience points. 20 by 999 times. Ding! Master cultivated Xian Qi for 1 minute. Martial arts cultivation gained experience points. 20 by 999 times. Before the spirit ship arrived at the royal city, Ji kept on cultivating. Royal city. When the time comes, the results will be announced in the palace. You can just stay at my place for the time being. Walking on the street, Zhuang Weiran said to Ji and Qi Ling, I don't mind. Ji said casually. Me too. Qi Ling, chimed in with Ji. The results will be announced the day after tomorrow. This way, I can bring you guys around the palace tomorrow to have some fun. Zhuang Weiran said happily. It took a day and a half to return from the ancient city of brilliant luster by spirit ship, so the day after tomorrow should be the day when the results would be announced. By the time they entered the palace, it was already late. The five of them returned to their respective rooms to rest. After Ji returned to her room, she took off her mask. Lying in bed, he couldn't fall asleep for the time being, so he began to think about some things. Now that the beast hunting ceremony had ended, he had absolute confidence that he would be ranked first. In other words, he would soon be able to enter the palace's treasure vault to choose his treasures. In that case, it was time to plan his future path. The evolving temple's Kanglan Branch Hall and the Kanglan Empire Academy were undoubtedly Ji Yu's two biggest enemies. On the surface, the Kanglan Empire did not have a spirit profound realm expert. The number one expert was the Duke of Kanglan, Zhuang Tianke, whose cultivation had reached half a step into the spirit profound realm. Even if they were in secret, there would not be more than 5 of them. Basically, they were all old monsters who had been in seclusion for many years and would not casually appear in public. Only the demonic beast mountain range had 4th grade demonic beasts similar to the spirit profound realm experts. However, since the Kanglan Empire's historical records, the demonic beast mountain range had a mysterious power. Any demonic beasts of 4th grade and above could not step out of the demonic beast mountain range. Therefore, with Ji Yu's current strength, as long as his strength increased by another level, he would not need to fear the evolving temple's Kanglan Branch Hall and the Kanglan Empire Academy. In the future, Ji would not hide her identity anymore. Counter soldiers with arms, water with an earth weir, there was no need to fear. After a night, they were full of energy. The next day, before the sky was completely bright, Zhuang Weiran woke them up. What are you doing so early in the morning? Before Ji Yu could wake up naturally, she was woken up by Zhuang Weiran. Didn't I tell you yesterday? Today, I'm going to bring you guys around the palace to play. Zhuang Weiran said with great interest. That's not necessary. Forget it. You can do whatever you want. Ji was too lazy to say anything else. Since he was already woken up, he did not plan to continue sleeping. Hurry up and get up. Not only did Zhuang Weiran not feel that she did anything wrong, she even took advantage of Ji Yu and pulled off the blanket covering him. Wait. Zhuang Weiran's action was too sudden, and Ji was not fully awake yet, so he could not react in time. Oh. At this moment, a valiant, mysterious object appeared in front of Zhuang Weiran. She could not help but exclaim, I really have to hand it to you. Ji Yu said helplessly. Other than helplessness, he did not show any other expression. He was not that kind of pure and innocent boy. The one who should be panicking and embarrassed was not him. However, what surprised Ji Yu was that Zhuang Weiran did not show any panic or embarrassment on her face. She looked like she was just curious. To be honest, this is the first time I've seen such a thing on a man's body. It's actually so big. Zhuang Weiran had an eye-opening look on her face. There's no need to make a fuss. This is a normal physiological phenomenon. Jiyu coughed lightly. After a while, Zhuang Weiran was still staring at Jiyu. It made Jiyu feel a little embarrassed. It was ridiculous. All right, stop looking. You go out first. I'll change my clothes. Jiyu could not help but say. Chapter 314. Hearing Jiyu's words, Zhuang Weiran left the room. Jiyu changed in her daily clothes and put on the mask to change her appearance. After tidying up the room, he went out as well. Let's go. I already ordered the chef to make breakfast. It should be here by now. While talking, Zhuang Weiran brought Jiyu to the hall. There was a large and luxurious round table with all kinds of delicacies. Qiling Cheng Ye, and Cheng Jiangjiang were also sitting at the table. After finishing a comfortable breakfast, Zhuang Weiran excitedly brought them around the palace. The entire palace was very big, much bigger than the Qianyuan martial house. They could see the guards patrolling the palace at any time, and they would all bow to Zhuang Weiran. Speaking of which, why aren't you dressed as a man today? At this time, Jiyu realized that Zhuang Weiran was dressed as a woman and asked, "Is it okay if other people see it?" "It's okay. I can dress as I want in the palace." Zhuang Weiran said, "I will only dress as a man when I leave the palace." "I see." Jiyu nodded. The Duke of Kanglin really has a bad taste. He actually let his daughter dress as a man. At this time, Cheng Jiangjiang interrupted. "It is indeed a bit of a bad taste." Jiyu agreed. "All right, let's not talk about this." Zhuang Weiran smiled and said, "Let me bring you to the place where we teach in the palace." The place where they teach. Although Jiyu had never seen it before, she was not very curious. Because every power would set up a place where they teach. A top power like the palace was no exception. No matter if it was the son of the Duke of Kanglin or the son of an ordinary royal family, they had to receive all kinds of education since they were young. They had to learn both civil and martial arts. The only thing that made Jiyu slightly curious was what kind of education the royal family received since they were young. Ding! Master took a step forward. Earth rank low grade profound skill, lightning ray transformation, gained experience. Won by 999 times. Ding! Master took a step forward. Earth rank low grade profound skill, lightning ray transformation, gained experience. Won by 999 times. Not long after, Zhuang Weiran brought Jiyu and the others to a mansion. This is... Jiyu couldn't help but ask when she saw the mansion in front of her. This mansion didn't look very big. It was probably the size of a small family's mansion in the ancient city of the rising sun. However, it was much more luxurious than the Qianyuan martial mansion. What he did not expect was that there was such a mansion within the palace. "So this is the academy set up by our palace," Zhuang Weiran replied. "Oh, so this is the academy." Jiyu's face was filled with surprise. It had to be said that the palace really put in a lot of effort in the education of the future generations. It was hard to estimate the amount of money needed to build such an independent and luxurious academy. Although I'm a student of the Kanglin Empire Academy, I've never been to the Kanglin Empire Academy before. It's more comfortable to stay in the academy, Zhuang Weiran said as he walked into the academy. In reality, she was just being lazy. There were fixed classes in the Kanglin Empire Academy every day. As for the academy, she had received so many years of education here. Now, she only needed to come once or twice a week. Compared to before, she definitely wouldn't want to go to the Kanglin Empire Academy. "So, are you here to attend classes?" Jiyu asked immediately. "No, it's not easy to relax today. How could I attend classes? I'm just here to take a look," Zhuang Weiran said. As they chatted, they walked to the side of a house. Inside, there seemed to be a lecturer teaching the children of the royal family. Jiyu listened for a while and realized that it was about martial arts. She instantly lost interest. However, just as Jiyu was about to go to the other classes, a new system notification sounded in her head. Ding! Master has listened to a martial arts class for 1 minute. Martial arts cultivation experience gained. 1 by 999 times. Only then did you realize that not only could one gain 999 times the experience in alchemy by listening to alchemy classes, one could also gain 999 times the experience in martial arts cultivation by listening to martial arts classes. However, it was still meaningless. It was just a waste of time with so little experience. All right, this class ends here. Just then, the lecturer also finished his class. The children of the royal family walked out and bowed to Zhuang Weiran when they saw her. Just then, a voice sounded. Weiran, I didn't expect to meet you so soon. Hearing this, Yu subconsciously turned to look. She saw a handsome young man smiling at Zhuang Weiran as he walked out of the classroom. Who are you? Do I know you? However, Zhuang Weiran had a face full of confusion. Chapter 315. That young man choked. I'm Qin Xiaodong. Weiran, don't you remember me? I'm sorry, I don't remember knowing you. Zhuang Weiran's tone was cold, not giving him any face. And can you not call me that disgusting? At this moment, in her beautiful eyes, there was an obvious look of disdain. Hearing this, Jiyu's interest was piqued. This matter was obviously developing in an interesting direction. At the same time, this conversation also attracted the attention of many members of the royal family. Isn't that Qin Xiaodong? The one who dares to speak to young Master Qin like that is actually the sixth princess. I didn't think that the sixth princess would actually come today. Usually, I don't see the sixth princess in the academy more than a few times. How interesting. Qin Xiaodong has always been a hypocrite. On the surface, he looks like a gentleman, but in reality, he's an arrogant and lecherous person. Even he has a day where he's humiliated. Of course, he dares to call the sixth princess like that. If it were me, I wouldn't be nice to him either. It seemed that in the eyes of many royal family disciples, Qin Xiaodong's image wasn't very good. They all felt quite comfortable to be able to see Qin Xiaodong in such an embarrassing situation. After Zhuang Weiran's response and the surrounding discussions, Qin Xiaodong's expression turned ugly. Sixth princess, no matter what, I'm still the young master of the Alchemist Guild. You should at least give me some face. This time, Qin Xiaodong didn't dare to casually address Zhuang Weiran as he smiled. Oh, so you're the young master of the Alchemist Guild. Zhuang Weiran seemed to have just remembered who Qin Xiaodong was. However, her attitude and tone were still cold. It was as if she was a completely different person from how she treated Jiyu. Today, I'm here to learn as an exchange student. Coincidentally, I met you, sixth princess. Isn't this fate between us? Qin Xiaodong didn't seem to care about Zhuang Weiran's attitude and revealed a fake gentle smile. This princess just happened to come here for some matters. It's not fate, Zhuang Weiran said indifferently. Isn't this fate? However, Qin Xiaodong continued to be thick-skinned. Don't be so formal. The aura of a young master was completely gone. Instead, it gave people the feeling that this guy was a hooligan. Hearing this, the royal family members and young men and women couldn't hold themselves back anymore. This Qin Xiaodong is simply too shameless. The sixth prince has clearly expressed that he is not interested in him, yet he is still pestering the sixth princess. I heard that this Qin Xiaodong is also pursuing a genius beauty called Yu Shuyun in the Alchemist Guild. Is he trying to have a foot in two boats? This guy's too lousy. Damn it, sixth princess, please don't be fooled by this guy. Just thinking about this kind of person makes me feel disgusted. That shouldn't be the case. Our sixth princess's standards are very high. How could she fancy such a scumbag? Everyone was furious. Although Qin Xiaodong could hear these voices, he didn't seem to care. He only wanted to get Zhuang Weiran, this stunning beauty, in his hands. He didn't care what other people thought of him. Sorry, this princess already has someone in her heart. Zhuang Weiran was very cold towards Qin Xiaodong from the start. What? Qin Xiaodong was stunned. Since when did Zhuang Weiran have someone she liked? He didn't even hear the slightest bit of news. It wasn't only him. The royal family members were also shocked. Everyone was instantly stirred up. Damn it! I never thought that the sixth princess already has someone she likes. I really want to know who that person is, to be able to gain the sixth princess's heart. Damn, I'm so envious. I really want to chop that person up. Ji was still alright. He was just a little curious. With this guy's willful personality, who would he fall for? Chapter 316. Weiran, don't make such a joke. Qin Xiaodong said with a stiff smile. He couldn't believe that Zhuang Weiran already had someone she liked. Even he, the young master of the Alchemist Guild, couldn't win her heart. In the entire Kinglan Empire, there were only a handful of people who were better than him. Who's joking with you? Zhuang Weiran said without hesitation. The person I like is Ji Yu. Her words shocked everyone. The atmosphere was suffocating. Everyone was stunned, including Qin Xiaodong. Even Ji Yu himself was stunned. He almost thought that he had heard wrongly. He felt that it was strange. How did Zhuang Weiran fall for him? Cheng Yiye and Cheng Jiangjiang were shocked. Cheng Yiye was surprised that Zhuang Weiran really had someone she liked. In fact, she didn't even know who Ji Yu was. She originally thought that Zhuang Weiran was pretending to be in love with Qin Xiaodong. But now that she even pointed out his name, it was unbelievable. Cheng Jiangjiang was surprised that Zhuang Weiran liked someone. She originally thought that Zhuang Weiran had something going on with a young man called Yu Mu. She didn't expect that Zhuang Weiran actually liked someone else. She didn't know who Ji Yu was either. Cheng Jiangjiang subconsciously looked at the young man beside her and found that the change in his expression was quite obvious. She couldn't help but feel pity for this guy. The person she liked someone else. However, Cheng Jiangjiang didn't expect that the young man was Ji Yu himself. At this moment, Qi Ling'er was shocked. Previously, it was Zhuang Weiran who incited her to reveal her true feelings to Ji Yu. So she didn't expect that this person actually liked Ji Yu too. Ji Yu and I like each other. Do you have a problem with that? Zhuang Weiran said calmly. As she said that, she inadvertently glanced at Ji Yu. When she saw the change in Ji Yu's expression, she couldn't help but smile slightly. As soon as these words came out, the surrounding people came back to their senses. Ji Yu, it's that prodigy Ji Yu, right? I didn't expect him to be together with the sixth princess. I've heard of that Ji Yu too. She seems to be quite famous. I heard that her martial arts strength has reached the second tier of the Kanglan Empire. I wonder if that's true. It should be true. The news has been spreading for so long, but no one has come out to deny it. In that case, Ji Yu and the sixth princess are a match made in heaven. Yes, compared to Qin Xiaodong, I still think that Ji Yu and the sixth princess are more compatible. Everyone began to discuss this matter. Ji Yu was a little speechless. How come he didn't know when he and Zhuang Weiran fell in love with each other? At this time, Qin Xiaodong also recovered from a shock. When he heard the surrounding voices, his face instantly became gloomy. Ji Yu, why is it Ji Yu again? Qin Xiaodong's face was especially ugly. Before this, he had already seen Yu Shuyun as his. However, a while ago, he heard that Yu Shuyun had an ambiguous relationship with a young man. That young man was Ji Yu. This time, it was actually Ji Yu again. Qin Xiaodong, rarely liked women. In the past, even if other women were to throw themselves at him, he would not be willing. However, the only two women that he liked, Yu Shuyun and Zhuang Weiran, had an intimate relationship with Ji Yu. Since he had already fallen to such a state, Qin Xiaodong did not have the face to continue staying here. With a gloomy face, he quickly left. He knew that a young man named Ji Yu was very strong. However, no matter who it was, as long as they dared to provoke him, Qin Xiaodong, he would not let them off easily. At this time, Qin Xiaodong just happened to pass by Ji Yu. However, he did not know that the young man beside him was Ji Yu. Ji Yu did not even look at Qin Xiaodong. It was as if he had directly ignored the other party. He was thinking about Zhuang Weiran. Ji Yu thought that Zhuang Weiran must have deliberately lied to get rid of Qin Xiaodong and use his name as a shield. Therefore, he did not take Zhuang Weiran's words to heart. At the side, Qi Ling'er looked at Ji Yu with a complicated expression. She wanted to immediately ask Jiyu, but the current situation was not suitable. Chapter 317. In fact, Qin Xiaodong just left temporarily. He still had other classes to attend. As an exchange student, he had to stay in the academy the whole day. Even when Qin Xiaodong was far away, Jiyu did not look him in the eye. Let's go and have a look at other places. At this time, Zhuang Weiran said, Okay. Jiyu nodded slightly. Ding. Master has taken a step. The experience gained from the inferior Earth rank skill, Thunder Light Transformation, is 1 by 999 times. Ding. Master has taken a step. The experience gained from the inferior Earth rank skill, Thunder Light Transformation, is 1 by 999 times. Next, Zhuang Weiran brought Jiyu and the rest a walk around the academy. On the way, Jiyu didn't ask about what happened just now. He felt that Zhuang Weiran deliberately said that to get rid of Qin Xiaodong, so he didn't care about it. Only Qi Ling was very anxious. She was eager to find a chance to ask Jiyu. After going around the academy, Zhuang Weiran took them to other places in the palace. Not long after leaving the academy, Qi Ling couldn't help it. She went forward and pulled Jiyu's clothes, whispering, Come with me. Although Jiyu didn't know what Qi Ling wanted to do, he still let Qi Ling pull him. Seeing that Jiyu and Qi Ling was suddenly left, Cheng Yeye and Cheng Jiangjiang stopped. However, Zhuang Weiran seemed to have seen through them. She smiled slightly and said, Let's continue. They will follow us later. What's the matter? After being pulled to a corner by Qi Ling, Jiyu couldn't help but ask. Just holding hands with Jiyu, Qi Ling was so shy that her face turned red. After a while, she calmed down and gathered her courage to say, She said that you are in love with each other. Is it true? Jiyu didn't react for a while, but immediately understood. Oh, you're talking about Zhuang Weiran. She was just joking. Joking? Qi Ling asked in confusion. Yeah, didn't that Qin Xiaodong keep pestering her? Jiyu casually voiced her opinion. Didn't she say that just to get rid of Qin Xiaodong? Really? Qi Ling asked dubiously. However, Jiyu's facial expression looked very natural. It didn't seem like she was lying at all. Of course it's true, not to mention whether she really likes me or not. At least I don't have that kind of feelings for her. Jiyu said. Qi Ling nodded and heaved a sigh of relief in her heart. Knowing that this was a joke, she was naturally happier. But if Jiyu and Zhuang Weiran really loved each other, she would only give her blessings. After all, she understood that she was just an outsider. If it wasn't for Zhuang Weiran's help, she wouldn't have been able to see her true heart. If Zhuang Weiran really liked Jiyu, not only would he not mind her, but he would also help her reveal her true feelings to Jiyu. How could she have a nerve to mind Zhuang Weiran? Besides, she didn't even have the courage to like Jiyu. Was she qualified to interfere with Jiyu liking someone else? The only ones qualified to interfere were Jiang Yuechu and Jiang Yuexin. Thinking of this, Qi Ling couldn't help but feel a little sad. Until now, she still didn't dare to have a deeper contact with Jiyu. Even when they were just holding hands, she couldn't help but feel a little afraid. But in the next moment, Qi Ling suddenly cared about something. Since Jiyu said that he didn't have that kind of feelings for Zhuang Weiran, then did he not have that kind of feelings for her? Qi Ling was very concerned. Unfortunately, this time, she didn't have the courage to ask. Qi Ling was afraid that Jiyu really had that kind of feelings for her. If that was the case, she wouldn't know how to face Jiyu. But at the same time, she was afraid that Jiyu didn't have that kind of feelings for her. If that was the case, her chances of fighting for him would become slim. Such a self-contradictory heart made Qi Ling feel even more painful. Perhaps it was best for her to maintain this kind of ignorant and unclear relationship. Chapter 318. Zhuang Weiran and the other two had not gone too far. Soon, Jiyu and Qi Ling caught up with them. After wandering around the palace for half a day, Zhuang Weiran finally stopped. It's about time to go back. Zhuang Weiran stretched her muscles, revealing her proud curves as she said in a lazy tone. Coincidentally, at this moment, a familiar person walked over from the opposite side. It was the fifth prince, Zhuang Kunji. Jiyu and Zhuang Weiran were not surprised. This was the palace, so it was not strange to meet Zhuang Kunji. Zhuang Kunji was slightly stunned. Then his face quickly darkened. Until now, he was still very concerned about what happened at the beast hunting ceremony. They encountered the king of thorny demon dogs, a fourth-grade demonic beast. Other than him, the other 4 members of the team died. However, Zhuang Weiran's team survived. Zhuang Kunji would never believe that there was nothing fishy about it. Zhuang Kunji lowered his head slightly and walked past Jiyu and the other 4. Although there was no conflict between them, Jiyu could sense that Zhuang Kunji was hostile. However, he did not care as long as Zhuang Kunji did not provoke him. For the rest of the time, Jiyu cultivated in her room. Ding! Master cultivated martial arts for 1 minute. Martial arts cultivation gained experience. 10 by 999 times. Ding! Master cultivated martial arts for 1 minute. Martial arts cultivation gained experience. 10 by 999 times. Ding! Congratulations, Master. Martial arts cultivation has successfully broken through to the peak of LV 6 Tongxian. In the middle of the night, Jiyu's cultivation finally reached the peak of LV 6 Tongxian. A few days ago, when she was hunting demonic beasts in the demonic beast mountain range, there were faint signs of a breakthrough. Today, she finally broke through. The next day was the day the beast hunting ceremony's ranking would be announced. Don't be in a hurry. We'll go after the results are announced. Originally, Jiyu was already prepared to set off, but she heard Zhuang Weiran say, "Why?" Jiyu asked in confusion. "You don't know, but every time this kind of ceremony is held, there will be a lot of messy and complicated ceremonies." Zhuang Weiran said, "Rather than waiting there for half a day, why don't we wait for the results to be announced before heading over?" "That's true." Jiyu nodded. Actually, he didn't really care. He was fine with anything. According to Zhuang Weiran's suggestion, Jiyu and the rest should wait here. Just like what Zhuang Weiran had said, it dragged on until noon before the results were finally announced. As expected, they were ranked first. The only thing that surprised Jiyu was the second and third place. Second Prince Zhuang Kunji and fifth Prince Zhuang Yun were actually ranked second and third, respectively. Logically speaking, since Zhuang Kun and Zhuang Yun had both lost their teammates, their rankings should have dropped. Who would have thought that those two would still be able to maintain their positions in the top 3? As for the rankings below, Jiyu wasn't interested in them. Then, Zhuang Weiran changed into men's clothing. Going to a place with so many outsiders, she still had to appear as a man. The 5 of them headed to the House of Storms together, which was where the Duke of Storms was at. After the results were announced, the ceremony was over. Next was to prepare for the rewards. Naturally, they had to rush over. When the 5 of them arrived at the House of Storms, most of the people attending the ceremony had already left. The group of people walking out of the House of Storms immediately recognized Zhuang Weiran. Originally, they were quite shocked by the results. When they saw Zhuang Weiran, they immediately started discussing. "That's the 6th prince. He's finally here. Who would have thought that the first place would be the 6th prince's team?" "Yeah, luckily I didn't dare to bet recklessly this time. Otherwise, I would have lost so much. Not only that, they were absent from the ceremony. The ceremony is already over, yet you came so late. Only the 6th prince would dare to be so willful." Chapter 319. Inside the House of Storms. At this time, there were not many people left inside. Those who were still in the House of Storms were the teams that were preparing to receive the rewards of the monster hunting ceremony. A handsome middle-aged man in a dragon robe with a flat crown on his head walked in. He looked solemn and dignified. However, when he saw Zhuang Weiran enter the House of Storms, his expression changed and his dignified aura disappeared. "Weiran, you're finally here." The handsome middle-aged man smiled at Zhuang Weiran and said, "Now, we can begin the last step." The last step was naturally to give out the rewards. Yes, father. Zhuang Weiran nodded slightly and brought Ji Yu and the other three to their designated positions. It was obvious that this handsome middle-aged man was Zhuang Weiran's father. He was the current king of the Kanglan Empire, the Duke of Storms, Zhuang Tianke. Ji Yu only took one look at Zhuang Tianke and realized that this man was very powerful and dangerous. He even felt that this man was more powerful than the dean of the Kanglan Empire Academy. It was no wonder that he was the most powerful man in the Kanglan Empire. At this moment, a minister started to give out the rewards. Zhuang Weiran, Yu Mu, Qi Ling, Cheng Yiya, Cheng Jiangjiang. Team leader, please come forward to receive the rewards. The minister said loudly. Zhuang Weiran nodded her head and immediately walked forward. Then, she obtained 5 tokens. When the surrounding teams saw this scene, their eyes were filled with envy. These 5 tokens were all tokens for top-grade cultivation rooms, and they were all valid for up to 15 days. That was not the point. The most important thing was that the team that ranked first in the monster hunting ceremony could enter the House of Storms and pick any treasure they wanted. In the House of Storms, there were all kinds of heavenly treasures and godly weapons. Any one of them was extremely valuable. Unfortunately, they were not the ones who won the first place. They could only watch helplessly, especially the second prince, Zhuang Yun. There was resentment in his eyes. The prize for the first place should have belonged to him. At this moment, Zhuang Weiran took the 5 tokens and distributed them to Ji Yu and the rest. Zhuang Yun, there's only one person left in the team of 5. You are ranked second. Due to the special circumstances, the reward will only be given to one person. The minister continued. In the end, the top 10 teams all received their respective rewards and left the House of Storms one after another. Even Zhuang Yun and Zhuang Chuanji did not continue to stay in the House of Storms. At this moment, in the House of Storms, only the Azure Billow King Zhuang Tianke and Ji Yu were left. Later, I will bring you to the palace's treasury. After he finished speaking, Zhuang Tianke paused. He looked at Ji Yu and asked again, "So what is your true identity?" There was a kind of majesty in his tone, as if no one dared to disobey. Royal Father, this, Zhuang Weiran wanted to explain, but was interrupted by Zhuang Tian Quebec. This king knows very well that there is no such person as Yu Mu in the palace. Zhuang Tiang's gaze remained fixed on Ji Yu as he repeated, "Then what is your true identity?" If it was an ordinary person, they would have long been scared silly by that sharp gaze that carried an invisible pressure. However, Ji Yu was calm from beginning to end. Ding! Master resisted the pressure of a powerhouse. Bronze willpower gained experience, won by 999 times. Ding! Master resisted the pressure of a powerhouse. Bronze willpower gained experience, won by 999 times. Ding! Congratulations, Master. Bronze willpower has successfully broken through to greater mastery. Unknowingly, there was a breakthrough in her willpower. I'm Ji Yu. Ji Yu did not hesitate at all and spoke very naturally. At this moment, Zhuang Weiran was slightly stunned. She wanted to help Ji Yu fool her royal father, but she did not expect Ji Yu to reveal her true identity. Qi Ling was also slightly shocked. Cheng Jiangjiang looked as if she had expected this. She knew that this guy was hiding his true identity. However, she did not know what the name Ji Yu meant in the Kanglan Empire. Hearing this, Zhuang Tianke reacted quickly. You are that Ji Yu from the Qianyuan martial house? Zhuang Tianke asked. That's right, it's me. Ji Yu nodded. As he spoke, he tore off the mask on his face and revealed his true appearance. This time, Zhuang Tianke was completely sure. He had seen Ji Yu's portrait and knew what Ji Yu looked like. It was no wonder that he was able to maintain his composure and remain so calm under the pressure of his aura. Driven by curiosity, Cheng Jiangjiang carefully looked at Ji Yu's appearance. She could not help but be surprised. She did not expect this guy to be so handsome. This king has heard Wei Ran mention you before. It seems that you have a close relationship with Wei Ran. Zhuang Tianke narrowed his eyes. It was not that he did not know that it was Ji Yu who completed the mission. If that was the case, there should not be many interactions between them. However, he felt that this guy had a close relationship with his daughter. Chapter 320. Zhuang Weiran and I only know each other. Jiyu lightly shook her head. Is that really the case? Zhuang Tianke didn't quite believe Jiyu's words and questioned. Of course. Jiyu calmly replied. Zhuang Tiang's gaze became sharper as if he wanted to see through Jiyu completely. But at this moment, Zhuang Weiran broke the heavy atmosphere. All right, father, don't dawdle here. Zhuang Tianke deeply looked at Jiyu before compromising. Come with me. Jiyu couldn't help but be speechless. Why did this Duke of Navy Waves give her a strange feeling? Ding! Master has taken a step. Earth rank low-grade profound skill lightning ray transformation gained experience. Won by 999 times. Ding! Master has taken a step. Earth rank low-grade profound skill lightning ray transformation gained experience. Won by 999 times. Very quickly, Jiyu and the rest followed Zhuang Tianke to the palace's treasury. You can go in and choose by yourselves. Hearing Zhuang Tiang's words, the five of them immediately entered the palace's treasury. The moment they entered the palace's treasury, they could see all sorts of rare treasures neatly arranged everywhere. It was a little dazzling for a moment. If a person with difficulty in choosing came in here, they probably wouldn't be able to choose the treasure they wanted even after half a day. Because there were many treasures in the palace's treasury, and none of them were bad. Jiyu believed that his horizons were not short. But in this palace's treasury, there were only a few that he could recognize. Today was an eye-opener for him. Fourth-grade artifacts, Earth-rank cultivation techniques, Earth-rank profound skills, all sorts of secret techniques, all sorts of divine abilities, all sorts of elixirs, all sorts of heavenly treasures, etc. Even you didn't know which treasure to choose for a moment. He thought for a moment and decided to walk around the palace's treasury. He would look through all the treasures and finally choose the most suitable one for him. After wandering around for a while, Jiyu's eyes swept around quickly. At this moment, his eyes inadvertently swept across an old piece of blank paper. Following that, a system notification suddenly sounded. Ding! Master took a look at the second volume of the King Stage Cultivation Technique Sky Splitter and activated 999 times comprehension ability. Ding! Congratulations to Master for successfully comprehending the second layer of the King Stage Cultivation Method, Heaven Splitter. Ji was shocked when she heard the two notifications. He was now both surprised and delighted. It had already been a long time since he had cultivated the first layer of the Heaven Splitter technique to perfection. However, he only had the incomplete manual for the first level, so he had been unable to cultivate the second level. Who would have thought that he would actually find an incomplete manual of the second level in the palace's treasure vault today? This meant that Jiyu's physique would advance, and her cultivation speed would also increase by several levels. There was no need to think too much about it. Jiyu decisively chose this wordless piece of paper. Jiyu, have you chosen yet? Right at this moment, Zhuang Weiran seemed to have chosen as well. She walked over and asked, "And I've chosen." Jiyu nodded. "Where is it? Why can't I see it?" Zhuang Weiran looked around, but couldn't see what Jiyu had chosen. "It's this." Jiyu showed the worn-out piece of paper to Zhuang Weiran. This, looking at the item in Jiyu's hand, Zhuang Weiran was momentarily speechless. What's the use of this? She suspected that Jiyu had suddenly become stupid. Of all the treasures to choose, why did he choose this worn-out piece of paper? She couldn't see what use this piece of paper had. Anyway, it's useful. Jiyu was too lazy to explain so much and said directly. Furthermore, it wasn't convenient for him to reveal too much about the King Stage cultivation method. All right. If you think it's useful, then it's useful, Zhuang Weiran said. From the looks of it, Jiyu didn't seem like he was joking. This meant that the worn-out piece of paper might contain some secrets. However, since Jiyu wasn't willing to say it, she wouldn't ask. Next, Cheng Yiye, Cheng Jiangjiang, and Qi Ling also chose their treasures one after another. They walked out of the treasury together. Zhuang Tianke casually glanced at the treasures they had chosen. In the next moment, his gaze stopped on Ji Yu's hand. "Are you serious about choosing this thing?" Zhuang Tian's gaze sharpened as he immediately asked. "I'm serious." Ji Yu nodded in response. Zhuang Tianke looked at Ji Yu in silence for a moment before saying, "Come with me for a moment." "Yes." Ji Yu hesitated for a moment before replying. "What's going on?" Ling couldn't help but feel a little worried when something inexplicable suddenly happened. "Don't worry, my imperial father won't do anything to Ji Yu," Zhuang Weiran said. "Let's wait here for a while." Chapter 321. Zhuang Tianke slowly stopped when he reached a place where there was no one else. "What's the matter, Duke of Songlan?" Ji Yu immediately asked. "This king is just curious about one thing," Zhuang Tianke said. "Are you able to see the secret hidden in that piece of paper?" Ji Yu immediately revealed a hesitant expression. "It seems that you can indeed see the secret inside." Zhuang Tianke smiled. "Don't worry, this king isn't trying to make things difficult for you. This king has studied that piece of paper before, but I only managed to learn a little about it before throwing it into the treasury. This king summoned you here to remind you that that piece of paper does indeed contain a very powerful cultivation technique, but seems to only be a fragment of a page. This king doesn't recommend you to waste time on this. If you're willing, this king can allow you to enter the treasury again to choose another treasure." Zhuang Tianke quite admired Ji Yu for being able to see the extraordinariness of that piece of paper. It was also because of this that he reminded Ji Yu of this. Hearing Zhuang Tianke say so much, Ji Yu also let out a sigh of relief. He thought that something had suddenly happened, but in the end, it was just a kind reminder from Duke of Songlan. However, he didn't need to care about this at all. With the help of the system, he only needed to take a glance to instantly understand. "Many thanks for Duke of Songlan's reminder," Ji Yu modestly said, "but there's no need to choose another treasure." Amen. Hearing Ji Yu's insistence, Zhuang Tianke didn't plan to continue persuading her. Originally, he only admired Ji Yu. Then this one will take his leave first. Ji Yu was preparing to leave when she heard Zhuang Tianke's voice again. "Wait, this king still has one more thing to say." As Zhuang Tianke spoke, his tone gradually changed. "This king doesn't care if you and Weiran are just acquaintances. This king still has to give you a warning. Don't even think about having any thoughts about Weiran." Seeing Zhuang Tianke's dignified and serious expression, Ji Yu was speechless. This Duke of Kanglan was simply holding his daughter in his hands, as if she was a treasure. Now, he seemed to understand why Zhuang Weiran was always asked to dress as a man. "All right, you can go back now," Zhuang Tianke said. After that, Ji Yu left. When Zhuang Weiran asked, he gave a simple explanation. He didn't even mention the more important things. He didn't say anything about the Duke of Storm's warning either. The beast hunting ceremony had finally come to an end. Cheng Ye and Cheng Jiangjiang both went to the top-level cultivation room to cultivate. After the 15 days were up, they would return to the shattering army empire. Before parting ways with Ji Yu, Cheng Jiangjiang gave Ji Yu a jade pendant, inviting Ji Yu to visit the shattering army empire's Cheng clan at any time. Although Cheng Jiangjiang looked down on Ji Yu in the beginning, after experiencing so many things, she had completely lost her temper. From a normal person's point of view, anyone would think of ways to rope in a genius like Ji Yu. Ji Yu didn't reject and accepted the jade pendant. After that, Ji Yu and Ling returned to the Qianyuan martial house together. The moment Ji Yu returned to the Qianyuan martial house, she was summoned by Master Moro. "Qianyuan martial house, Violet Gold Hall. I've heard that you, Zhuang Weiran, and 2 other girls from the Shattering Army Empire won first place in the beast hunting ceremony," Morong Zili said. Ji Yu nodded slightly and continued to listen to Master Moro. "Linger didn't cause you any trouble, right?" Morong Zili asked. She was concerned about Ling. "Well, I wouldn't say that it's trouble," Ji Yu said. It's just that her personality suddenly changed, and I'm not used to it. Other than that, she's fine. Personality changed? Morong Zili was puzzled. After that, Jiyu gave a simple explanation of what had happened to Mansion Master Morong. I understand now. So that's what you're talking about. Morong Zili smiled and said, actually, that's Ling Er's true personality. When Jiyu saw the hint of a rare smile on Clan Master Morong's face, he could not help but be stunned for a moment. However, what really surprised her was what Master Morong said. Chapter 322. True Personality? Jiyu asked curiously and doubtfully. What's going on? That's what I mean. That's Ling Er's true personality. Morong Zili said, all of this can be traced back to 5 years ago. Jiyu listened carefully. After listening for a long time, Jiyu basically understood the ins and outs of the matter. Qi Ling was born in the Qi family of the Wanshan Empire. When she was very young, her mother passed away. Her mother's status in the family was very low, and she was also treated as a bastard by the other members of the family. Qi Ling Er's father, as the head of the family, had never treated her as his own daughter. He was either indifferent or scolding her. She also had an elder brother, but he was her half-brother. Compared to her, their status was like heaven and earth. He had never treated her as his biological sister. The worst thing was 5 years ago, when Qi Ling was 12 years old. In order to satisfy her elder brother's perverted selfish desires, her father tied her up and imprisoned her, allowing her elder brother to violate her. Fortunately, at that time, Master Morong was traveling in the Wanshan Empire and happened to be in the Qi family's mansion. Before Qi Ling was violated, he saved her and brought her back to the Qianyuan martial house to cultivate her. Otherwise, the consequences would be unimaginable. However, the experience when she was young left a deep psychological shadow on Qi Ling. From being naive, cute, and shy, she became extremely disgusted with men. She subconsciously felt disgusted with men. Even if Jiyu didn't experience these things himself, he couldn't help but feel angry. He really didn't expect that there would be such a twisted father and elder brother in this world. Most importantly, they were both family members. I'm telling you this because I hope you can tolerate Ling a little. Morong Zili said, she's actually a very silly and naive girl. Well, Jiyu slowly responded. Through this change in Qi Ling Er's personality, he could see it. At this time, Jiyu had returned to his room. He temporarily put those heavy things behind him and prepared to start to improve the second stage of the sky-splitting technique. However, before he improved the sky-splitting technique, Jiyu planned to cultivate his qi first to see what kind of changes would occur after he comprehended the second stage of the sky-splitting technique. Ding! Master has cultivated Xian Qi for 1 minute. Martial arts cultivation experience gained. 20 by 999 times. Hearing the system notification, Jiyu understood that the cultivation effect had been doubled. Now that he had comprehended the second layer of Sky Splitter, it meant that his physique had advanced to the first grade spirit body. Then, Jiyu immediately took out the piece of white paper and began to upgrade the Sky Splitter technique. Ding! Master has read the second volume of Sky Splitter for 1 minute. The experience gained from the second tier of Sky Splitter is 1 by 999 times. Ding! Master has read the second volume of Sky Splitter for 1 minute. The experience gained from the second tier of Sky Splitter is 1 by 999 times. A day passed just like that. Although there was no breakthrough in the second layer of the Heaven Splitter technique, Jiyu could clearly feel that the technique had improved, and her physique had also advanced to the second grade spirit body. I'll cultivate my Xian Qi again to see how effective it is. Ding! Master has cultivated Xian Qi for 1 minute. Martial arts cultivation experience gained, 30 by 999 times. As expected, the cultivation effect had also improved. There wasn't much to do recently, so Jiyu continued to focus on upgrading the Sky Splitter technique in the room. Ding! Master has read the second volume of Sky Splitter for 1 minute. The experience gained from the second tier of Sky Splitter is won by 999 times. Ding! Master has read the second volume of Sky Splitter for 1 minute. The experience gained from the second tier of Sky Splitter is won by 999 times. Ding! Congratulations, Master. The second level of Sky Splitter has successfully broken through to the initial success realm. After another 2 days, GU finally upgraded the second level of Sky Splitter to the initial success realm. Her physique had advanced to the third grade spirit body, and the cultivation effect had also improved. However, at this moment, there was a knock on the door. GU was immediately disturbed. This was the first time in 3 days that the door was knocked on. GU, Yueshin, and I are looking for you. At this moment, Jiang Yuechu's voice came from outside the door. Chapter 323. Hearing that it was Jiang Yuechu and Jiang Yueshin, GU immediately opened the door. What's the matter? GU looked at the 2 girls and asked. It's like this. Now that Yueshin and I have reached the 5th level of the defensive profound realm, it's time for us to go back and accept the inheritance. Jiang Yuechu said. Inheritance? GU couldn't help but be curious. It's our Jiang family's inheritance technique. Only our family members who have reached the 5th level of the defensive profound realm can cultivate it. Jiang Yuechu explained. She originally wanted to ask GU if she wanted to accept the inheritance with them. But after thinking about it, she decided to forget about it. With GU's current strength, she probably wouldn't be interested in their mystic middle-level inheritance technique. I've reached the 5th level of the defensive profound realm now. How is it? Amazing, right? Jiang Yueshin raised her head proudly, as if she wanted GU to praise her. Yes, you've worked hard. GU patted Jiang Yueshin's head honestly. Jiang Yueshin could reach the 5th level of the defensive profound realm so quickly, which was somewhat out of his expectations. She had indeed worked hard. Jiang Yueshin immediately showed a comfortable expression. Yueshin and I have already told the Mansion Master that we'll be returning to the Chaoyang ancient city for a while, and the Mansion Master has agreed. Jiang Yuechu continued. This time we're just here to inform you. I see. Jiu nodded slightly, and after a while said, Why don't I go back with you guys? If he let Jiang Yuechu and Jiang Yueshin go back, he would be a little worried. After all, the branch of the evolving temple must be watching in the dark. It was just that there hadn't been a chance to do so. But won't this delay your time? Jiang Yuechu wasn't stupid. She knew that GU was facing a lot of powerful enemies now. In order not to delay GU, she didn't even look for GU a few days ago, when GU came back. Of course not. GU smiled and said, Then it's settled. When you guys are leaving, I'll leave with you guys. All right. Jiang Yuechu followed GU's suggestion. We'll be leaving soon. After informing Mansion Master Moron, GU returned to the Chaoyang ancient city with Jiang Yueshin. This time, the Chaoyang could take the ancient, could take the spirit ship, directly could take the Chaoyang city. This time, GU did not use a mask to disguise himself. Instead, as usual, he wore a white robe. Ding! Master's training master has cultivation experience gained cultivation. ADX 99999 times. Ding! Master has practiced martial arts for 1 minute. Martial arts cultivation EXP gained 80 by 999 times. She had just broken through the second stage of the Sky Splitter to the minor accomplishment realm, and it was in the high-class room of the spirit ship that had double the effect. Before arriving at the destination, GU had been cultivating her celestial chi in the high classroom. After arriving at the Chaoyang city, GU and the other 2 entered the city lord's mansion smoothly. With the 2 daughters of the city lord's mansion, Jiang Yuechu and Jiang Yueshin, there was no need for GU to show up. All the trivial matters in the Chaoyang city could be easily solved. Now that Jiang Yuechu and Jiang Yueshin had gone to receive the technique inheritance, they probably wouldn't come out for at least 10 days to half a month. GU and Jiang Zhongtian chatted casually for a while before returning to their residence in the city lord's mansion. In the room, GU continued to improve the Sky Splitter. Ding! Master has read the second volume of the Sky Splitter for 1 minute. The experience gained from the second stage of the Sky Splitter. 1x99999 times. Ding! Master has read the second volume of the Sky Splitter for 1 minute. The experience gained from the second stage of the Sky Splitter. 1x99999 times. Jiyu originally planned to stay in the City Lord's mansion to improve her technique realm before Jiang Yuechu and Jiang Yuexin finished receiving the inheritance. However, on the second day, Jiang Zhongtian told Jiyu a piece of news. It was the Nangong family's request for help from Bright Moon Ancient City. From the letter, it could be seen that the Nangong family had encountered a lot of trouble recently. Upon hearing that it was the Nangong family, Jiyu thought of Nangong Maching and Nangong Yanxin. Chapter 324. From the letter, she found out that ever since Chaoyang Ancient City was unified, the City Lord's Mansion and Bright Moon Ancient City had started to stir. As one of the two great alchemy families in Bright Moon Ancient City, the Nangong family was viewed as a thorn in their side. The City Lord's Mansion of Bright Moon Ancient City had allied with the other great alchemy family, the Wu family, to pressure the Nangong family. Not only did they target the Nangong family, but they also forcefully sealed off the Nangong family's trading area. With the trading area sealed, the Nangong family couldn't do business and could only secretly trade with others. If this continued, the huge Nangong family would not be able to hold on sooner or later. They had no choice but to ask for help. After roughly understanding the Nangong family situation, Jiyu and Jiang Zhongtian were discussing how to deal with this matter. Do you want to send some people over? Jiang Zhongtian told her his plan. No need, Jiyu said. It's better for me to go personally. It should be settled in less than a day. With his current strength, there was no one in Bright Moon Ancient City who could be his opponent. No matter what, the Nangong family was their ally now. If he could help, he would help. It wouldn't take much effort anyway. That works too. At this moment, Jiang Zhongtian had a strange expression on his face. Why do I feel like you're doing this for Miss Nangong? Maybe, but not entirely. Jiyu was silent for a moment before replying. Not only Nangong Maching, but also that Nangong Yanxin, he was quite familiar with them. He really couldn't deny that there was some worldly wisdom involved. I'll prepare later, and we can set off soon. With that, Jiyu left. Looking at Jiyu's departing figure, Jiang Zhongtian couldn't help but smile. It's so good to be young. Ding. Master has used Lightning Luster Transformation. Lightning Luster Transformation obtained experience. 1,000 by 999 times. Ding. Master has used Lightning Luster Transformation. Lightning Luster Transformation obtained experience. 1,000 by 999 times. Ding. Congratulations, Master. The Earth Rank Inferior Profound Skill, Lightning Luster Transformation, has successfully broken through to the Great Achievement stage. Ding! It has been detected that Lightning Luster Transformation has reached the Perfection realm, automatically upgrading to the Earth Rank Mid-Level Profound Skill, Lightning Luster Flash. Since the distance between Bright Moon Ancient City and Rising Sun Ancient City was not far, Jiyu directly used her movement technique and arrived at Bright Moon Ancient City in no time. At the same time, his movement technique had also made a breakthrough, and it had advanced to the Earth Rank Medium-Level Lightning Flash. After arriving at Bright Moon Ancient City, Jiyu discovered a phenomenon. The guards at the city gates were still as lax as before, but they could still see patrolling guards in the city at any time. He guessed that this should be the Bright Moon Ancient City's City Lord's Mansion. It was to prevent the Nangong family from trading with others in the Bright Moon Ancient City. As for why the number of guards remained the same, it could be that the City Lord's Manor didn't want to fight to the death with the Nangong family. Although it was troublesome to go to other ancient cities to trade with other factions, at least they could take a breather. If the lifeline of the Nangong family was completely cut off, even a dog would jump over the wall in desperation, let alone a large family with a strong foundation. Ji followed the route in her memory and arrived at the Nangong family's mansion. Now that the Nangong family was in a tense situation, the mansion's security had become very strict. Before Ji Yu could reach the entrance of the Nangong family's mansion, she was stopped by a few guards. "Who are you?" The leading guard stood in front of Ji Yu and asked sternly. "Rising Sun, Ancient City, City Lord's Mansion." Ji said a few words very calmly. At this moment, she was wearing a white robe that covered her face, so she didn't reveal who she was. The few guards were delighted, but in the next moment, their expressions changed again. Rising Sun Ancient City was the Nangong family savior now. But after looking around, they didn't see a second person. Could it be that Rising Sun Ancient City only sent one person? "How many people are with you?" In order to confirm the situation, the leading guard asked. "Only me," Ji said calmly. Hearing this, the guard immediately revealed a look of astonishment. Chapter 325. The other guards were also speechless. It was not easy for them to ask for help from Chaoyang Ancient City, but in the end, they only sent one person. What were they trying to do? Although the Nangong nobles were in a weak position now, they did not have to trick them like this. They only sent one person, and he looked very ordinary. They guessed that he would not be of any help. However, no matter what, he was from the city governor's mansion in Chaoyang Ancient City. Now that the Nangong nobles were attached to the city governor's mansion in Chaoyang Ancient City, the guards dared not act rashly. "Mister, please come in." After the leader of the guards reacted, he forced a respectful smile and said. Ji Yu naturally noticed the changes on the guards' faces, but he did not care and did not say anything. Ding! Master has taken a step forward. Earth rank medium dark skill, instant thunder, gained experience. Won by 999 times. Ding! Master has taken a step forward. Earth rank medium dark skill, instant thunder, gained experience. Won by 999 times. The guard sent Ji Yu directly to the meeting hall. There were only two people in the meeting hall. One was a middle-aged man with an extraordinary temperament. He had his back facing them. The other was Nangong watching. He seemed to be communicating with the middle-aged man. "Our master is inside. Mister, you can go in directly." After doing what they were supposed to do, the guards returned to the mansion to continue guarding the gate. Ji Yu had heard that the master of the Nangong nobles, who was Nangong Maching's father, was called Nangong Yu. However, this was the first time he had met Nangong Yu. At the same time, Nangong Yu had already heard what the guards said. Under his order, there was only one possibility that the guards dared to let an outsider in. The person was sent by the city governor's mansion in Chaoyang Ancient City. Nangong Yu immediately turned around to see who was sent by the city governor's mansion in Chaoyang Ancient City. However, in the next moment, he could not help but frown slightly. Only one person came? Then, Nangong Yu subconsciously probed the cultivation of the man in white robe. Suddenly, his face changed slightly. He was shocked to find that he could not detect the cultivation of the man in white robe at all. There were only two possibilities for such a situation to occur. The first possibility was that the other party had no cultivation at all, so no matter how he probed, he would not be able to detect it. The other was that the other party's cultivation far surpassed his, so he wasn't qualified to investigate. In comparison, Nangong Yu was more willing to believe the latter. No matter what, the City Lord Mansion of Chaoyang Ancient City would not send a person with no cultivation base to support the Nangong family. Of course, he wasn't completely sure. What if the other party really didn't care about their lives and sent a person without cultivation to trick them? After all, even though the city governor's mansion of Chaoyang Ancient City had a strong foundation, it was impossible for them to casually send a mystic comprehending expert who was much stronger than him to help them. To be on the safe side, Nangong Yu decided to treat him as a powerhouse. "Are you from Chaoyang Ancient City?" Nangong Yu asked tentatively. "Exactly." Ji Yu slowly walked into the meeting hall and replied. Nangong Maching did not speak, but his eyes were always on the white-robed man in front of him. She kept feeling that this white-robed man had a familiar aura. At this moment, when he heard the other party speak, Nangong Maching immediately felt even more familiar. All of a sudden, a certain figure subconsciously appeared in her mind. The figure in her mind almost overlapped with the white-robed man in front of her. In order to verify her guess, Nangong Maching quickly walked toward the white-robed man. Seeing his daughter's sudden action, Nangong quickly asked, "Maching, what are you doing?" He was afraid that his daughter would suddenly do something stupid and offend the other party. If the other party was really a super powerhouse, the Nangong family would be doomed. Nangong Maching ignored Nangong Yu and walked straight toward the white-robed man. Without saying anything, she lifted the white robe on the other party's head. Then, Nangong Maching revealed a rare, faint smile. "It's really you." Chapter 326. As expected, it was Ji-Yu. The figure that appeared in Nangong Maching's mind was Ji-Yu. Nangong Yu was stunned when he saw the face of the white-robed man. No, the white-robed young man. When he saw this face, he couldn't react at first glance. He immediately recognized that the young man was Ji-Yu. Nangong Yu had seen Ji-Yu's portrait many times, so he definitely wouldn't be mistaken. Since it was Ji-Yu, then it wasn't strange at all. This young man, who stood at the second level of the Kanglan Empire's martial arts, was obviously much stronger than him. Never in his wildest dreams would he have thought that his desperate request for help this time would actually involve a super powerhouse like Ji-Yu. Nangong Yu was excited and overjoyed. His Nangong family would definitely be saved this time. "You can even tell that it's me?" At the same time, Ji-Yu looked at Nangong Maching in surprise. "When I heard your voice, I could almost tell that it was you." The faint smile on Nangong Maching's face disappeared and returned to its usual cold expression. "All right." Ji-Yu couldn't help but be speechless. He had just casually replied to Nangong Yu, but Nangong Maching could tell that it was his voice. He was very impressed. Nangong Yu opened his mouth slightly and was about to say something, but when he saw that the atmosphere between his daughter and Ji-Yu seemed to be quite good, he consciously closed his mouth. If possible, he really hoped that his daughter would get along well with Ji-Yu. He could also see that his daughter had a good impression of Ji-Yu. Even heroes have a weakness for the charms of beautiful women. He felt that even if Ji-Yu didn't have a good impression of Mo-Ching, she wouldn't hate him. If they could get along with Ji-Yu, a super genius who excelled in both martial arts and alchemy, their Nangong family would definitely soar. Therefore, Nangong Yu chose to keep his mouth shut and take this opportunity to let his daughter interact more with Ji-Yu. "Are you here to help us this time?" Nangong Maching asked. "Yes." Ji-Yu said, "Let's try to resolve this within a day." His tone was incomparably calm, but it gave off a domineering feeling. Hearing this, Nangong Yu was slightly startled. He could not help but shake his head. Only this young genius could say such domineering words. The entire Nangong family had used all of their strength, but it was still difficult for them to face their current predicament. As for this genius young man, he planned to settle it within a day. Nangong Yu did not think that Ji-Yu was bragging, because Ji-Yu had every right to say that. "Thank you." Nangong Maching thanked from the bottom of his heart. With Ji-Yu around, all the worries in her heart disappeared, and she was filled with a sense of security. "Then, tell me what's going on." Ji-Yu said. This, Nangong Yu was speechless. It was clearly the best time to attack Mo-Ching. Why didn't Ji-Yu say anything? Why did they start talking about official business? Nangong Yu was a veteran in the field of love. It seemed that Ji-Yu was not mature enough. Nangong Yu could only shake his head regretfully. Little did he know that it was not that Ji-Yu did not know these things. It was just that she did not have the time. As for the specific situation, our Nangong family's trade market has been sealed off. It's even difficult to trade privately with others. We can only send caravans to other ancient cities to trade. Nangong Maching explained in detail. The City Lord Mansion has greatly restricted our source of income. Meanwhile, the Wu family is constantly targeting us. Recently, many family members have been bullied by the Wu family. The other families are fine. Although they don't support us, they're not on our opposite side either. The City Lord Mansion and the Wu family probably saw how quickly our Nangong family has risen in recent years, so they want to suppress us once. After understanding the general situation, Ji nodded. The City Lord Mansion and the Wu family in Bright Moon Ancient City only wanted to suppress the Nangong family. They did not want to annex or destroy the Nangong family, so their methods were not too harsh. This way, it would be easier to solve the problem. Chapter 327. I've already thought of a plan. Before he could finish speaking, Jiyu's figure had already disappeared from where he stood. On the other side, Jiyu was already gone before Nangong Maching and Nangong Yu could react. Although they still had many things to tell him, he was Jiyu, so they weren't worried. Ding! Master has used Lightning Flash. Lightning Flash gained experience. 3000 asterisk 999x. Compared to the low Earth rank Lightning Change, the mid-Earth rank Lightning Flash was naturally faster. Moreover, Flash of Lightning was very similar to a teleportation ability. Bystanders wouldn't be able to see Jiyu clearly, let alone determine where he would appear in the next moment. In the blink of an eye, Jiyu had left the Nangong estate and arrived on the streets. There were many people on the streets, so no one noticed the white-robed man who had suddenly appeared out of nowhere. At this moment, Jiyu put on his white robe again to cover his face and casually bought a map from a roadside stall. After clearly seeing the direction of the Wu family on the map, Jiyu used his movement technique again. Ding! Master has used Lightning Flash. Lightning Flash gained experience. 3000 asterisk 999x. In the blink of an eye, Jiyu was already close to the Wu family estate. But just as he was about to enter the Wu family estate, he heard the sound of a commotion not far behind him. How dare you? Miss Yinxin has already joined the Alchemist Guild. So what? The Alchemist Guild won't interfere in the conflict between our two families. Ha ha ha. Jiyu turned around and saw a good-for-nothing young man and 3 middle-aged men who seemed to be blocking someone in a corner. He took a closer look and saw that it was a beautiful woman and an old man who were trapped in the corner. The beautiful woman was actually someone he recognized, Nangong Yinxin. As for the other old man, he wore the Nangong family's uniform and was only at the 3rd level of the defensive profound realm. He should be an old servant of the Nangong family. The commotion just now came from this young man and the other middle-aged man. Right at this moment, that profligate young man spoke. You killed my brother, Wu Feng. Do you think I will let you go? That hedonistic young man stared at Nangong Yunxin with an unkind gaze. Nangong Yunxin frowned slightly, but didn't say anything. I'll give you 2 choices. Either you become my concubine, or you die. The spoiled young man said in a commanding tone. It was as if Nangong Yunxin had no room to refuse at all in his eyes. In fact, Nangong Yunxin really didn't have a 3rd choice. Her opponent was the young master of the Wu clan, Wu Jun, who was at the 2nd level of the defensive profound realm, slightly stronger than her. Not only that, but Wu Jun also had 3 5th level defensive profound realm fighters by his side. Nangong Yunxin and the old servant were no match for the 4 of them. At the same time, Jiyu, who was not far away, had more or less figured out what had happened. Previously, he had casually crushed Wu family's 2nd young master, Wu Feng, to death like an ant. Then, Wu Feng's eldest brother took the opportunity to settle the score with Nangong Yinxin. Furthermore, it just so happened that the Wu family and the Nangong family were at odds with each other. Since I've encountered them, I'll just take care of them while I'm at it. With that thought in mind, Jiyu's figure flashed and instantly appeared in front of Nangong Yinxin. Ding! Master has used Lightning Flash. Lightning Flash gained experience. 3000 asterisk 999x. Nangong Yunxin and the old servant were both stunned when a white-robed person suddenly appeared in front of them. This also alarmed Wu Jun and the 3 middle-aged men beside him. Who are you? Wu Jun felt that this white-robed person had ill intentions, so he asked with a gloomy expression. Jiyu remained silent, because he couldn't be bothered to speak to a dead person. Whoosh! Before he moved, his sword had already moved. Cold blade was unsheathed. With a flash of sword light, for heads rolled on the ground. This was only the most basic sword drawing technique, but it was enough to instantly kill the four of them. Ding! Master has used basic sword technique, dazzling sun, first style. Obtained experience, won by 999 times. Chapter 328. Jiyu's casual slash was so fast that it almost left after images. Before Nangong Yunshin and the old servant could react, the four of them were already dead. Nangong Yunshin's mouth opened slightly, and her eyes flickered with extreme shock. She looked at the white-robed man in front of her in disbelief. Who exactly was this person? Nangong Yunshin was about to speak, but at that moment, the white-robed man disappeared again. Now, she wanted to know who the other party was even more. She did not believe that the other party was a stranger who happened to pass by. She felt that he must be someone she knew. To have such skills, could he be the master of the house or a powerhouse in the clan? No. Nangong Yunshin felt that something was wrong. If he was really from the clan, he would not have left without saying anything. Also, she rarely left the Nangong estate, so she did not know many people, especially those with such skills. After eliminating the last possibility, Nangong Yunshin's heart suddenly skipped a beat. Could it be Jiyu? Ever since she bid farewell to Jiyu last time, Nangong Yunshin heard many shocking rumors about Jiyu. If those rumors were true, Jiyu is now a super powerhouse at the second stage of the martial Dao in the Kanglan Empire. Her strength matched that of the white-robed man just now. The more Nangong Yunshin thought about it, the more she felt that the white-robed man was Jiyu. Although it was a pity that she could not speak to Jiyu earlier, judging from the current situation, Jiyu was probably here to help the Nangong family. In other words, she still had a chance to see Jiyu again. Miss, let's return to the estate first. Only then did the old servant recover from his shock. It'll be more troublesome if the people from the city, Lord's estate, see us later. Okay. Nangong Yunshin nodded. The two of them hastened their steps back to the estate. Even on the way back, Nangong Yunshin kept thinking about Jiyu. Ding. Master has used lightning flash. Lightning flash gained experience. 3000 asterisk 999x. At this moment, Jiyu had already arrived at the entrance of the Wu family estate. He did not have much time to catch up with Nangong Yunshin, so he simply did not reveal his identity. The guards at the entrance of the Wu estate were still talking and laughing merrily a second ago, but in the next second, they were all extremely frightened. This was because they had no idea when this white-robed man had appeared. Who is it? Call your patriarch out. Jiyu couldn't be bothered to talk nonsense with these guys and said directly, You. Hearing the other party's arrogant words, one of the guards couldn't help but scold. However, as soon as he opened his mouth, he was stopped by another guard. All of you wait here. Don't do anything on your own. The other guard had a solemn expression on his face as he said to the others, I will immediately inform the patriarch. Based on the words and actions of the white-robed man, his intuition told him that this person was definitely not ordinary. In this bright moon ancient city, how many people dare to run to the entrance of the Wu family estate and even directly shout at the family head? If he wasn't a fool, then he was a big shot with an extraordinary status, and he didn't believe that there would be many fools. For safety's sake, he felt that it was better to inform the patriarch first. Although the others didn't understand the situation, this was the captain's order, and they didn't dare to disobey. A few minutes later, the captain of the guards walked out with a middle-aged man. Patriarch! Seeing the middle-aged man, the other guards all respectfully greeted him. Clearly, this middle-aged man was the Wu family's patriarch, Wu Lung. So you're looking for me, Wu Lung? Wu Lung looked at the white-robed man in front of him and probed with narrowed eyes. He had already heard about the situation from the captain of the guards. Moreover, he couldn't detect this person's cultivation, which meant that this person's strength was definitely above his. He couldn't help but be concerned that such an expert came to find him during such a sensitive period. I'm only here to give you a warning. It's best to terminate your cooperation with the city lord estate right now. Otherwise, you'll end up like your son. Similarly, Jiyu didn't bother with the Wu family head and directly stated the purpose of his visit. What did you do to June? Hearing the other party's words, Wu Long's expression abruptly changed as he coldly asked. Chapter 329. It's nothing. I just killed him along the way. Ji Yu's tone was very calm, as if she was talking about something insignificant. You kill my son? Wu Long was so angry that he almost vomited blood. Ever since Wu Feng was killed, he only had one son, Wu Jun. Furthermore, Wu Jun was very talented in martial arts and alchemy. He had entrusted the future of the family to his eldest son. Give me your answer. Ji did not say anything meaningless. You kill my Jun, and still want to order me around? Do you think that's possible? Wu Lung glared at Ji Yu and said through gritted teeth. At the same time, more and more onlookers gathered. What's going on? Family head Wu's son was killed? Jun, or he should be talking about the Wu clan's first young master, Wu Jun, right? This is bad. The Wu clan's first son is dead. Patriarch Wu is definitely going to flip out. I wonder where that person came from to actually dare to make a move on young master Wu Jun, especially when they heard Wu Lung's voice. They were in an uproar. Then you can go and die too. Ji did not want to waste time talking to him. Before she finished speaking, Cold Blade was already out of its sheath. Ding! Master has used the basic sword technique. Brilliant sun in the sky. First form. Obtained experience. Won by 999 times. Ding! Master has activated 50% of his Sword Dao true meaning. Experience gained. 500 asterisk 999x. It was a very ordinary sword drawing technique, but it was mixed with a terrifying sword intent. The sword returned, and the person died. At the same time, Ji Yu disappeared. Silence. Incomparable silence. Everyone was stunned. No one dared to believe what had just happened. Family head Wu was actually killed in an instant. That was a mystic comprehension expert. They did not dare to imagine how powerful that white-robed man was. Ding! Master has used Flash of Lightning. Flash of Lightning. Obtained experience. 3,000 by 999 times. At this moment, Ji Yu is already far away from the Wu family residence. As the head of the family, Wu Lung was already dead. The Wu family would fall into chaos internally. The Wu family, which was on the verge of collapse, was no longer a threat to the Nangong family. Naturally, he didn't need to care about the Wu family. As for killing Wu Lung, Ji Yu didn't feel anything at all. Originally, Wu Lung's second son, Wu Feng, was blind enough to provoke him and was killed by him. Wu Lung must have long wanted to cut him into 1,000 pieces. Therefore, he deserved to be killed. After that, Ji Yu went straight back to the Nangong residence to look for Nangong Yu, the head of the Nangong family. What? Are you saying that Wu Lung is dead? Nangong Yu exclaimed in shock. He was not shocked because Ji Yu had killed Wu Lung. After all, he knew that Ji Yu had the ability to do so. He was shocked that Ji Yu's methods were so swift and decisive. Ji Yu had only left the mansion for a short while, and Wu Lung was already dead. Yes. Ji Yu nodded faintly and said, You can go to the City Lord Mansion now and tell them to behave themselves. Remember not to expose my identity first. Okay. Nangong Yu suppressed the excitement in his heart and immediately sent someone to pass the message to the City Lord Mansion. He more or less understood Ji Yu's thoughts. Now that the Wu family head was dead, if they passed the message to the City Lord Mansion, it would definitely make the City Lord Mansion anxious. As long as the City Lord Mansion was wary, the Nangong family would win. After that, Nangong Yu specially arranged a high-end courtyard for Ji Yu to rest in. Ji Yu followed the route that Nangong Yu instructed and headed to the courtyard. However, not long after he walked out of the meeting hall, he happened to encounter Nangong Yunxin and the old servant who had just returned. Young miss, look. The old servant first noticed Ji Yu in a white robe and hurriedly said to Nangong Yunxin beside him, That's the Lord from before. Nangong Yunxin looked in the direction that the old servant pointed and really saw that white-robed man. At that moment, a trace of impulse surged in her heart, and she could not help but grab that white-robed man's wrist. Is it really you? Ji Yu, Chapter 330. How did you recognize me too? Ji Yu's lips twitched. It was one thing for Nangong Maching to recognize him, but now, even Nangong Yunshin recognized him. He could understand why Nangong Maching recognized him from his voice, but he had never spoken in front of Nangong Yunshin. Ji was speechless. Did he really recognize him like that? It's really you. Nangong Yunshin was delighted. Since she had been recognized, Ji Yu did not continue to pretend. She immediately took off the white robe on her head. Are you here to help the Nangong family? Nangong Yunshin asked curiously. That's right. Ji Yu nodded. Ji Yu's simple and monotonous answer made Nangong Yunshin speechless. Ji Yu asked when Nangong Yunshin did not say anything. Is there anything else? If not, I'll take my leave first. Yes. Nangong Yunshin said anxiously when she heard that Ji Yu was about to leave. Thank you for saving me earlier. It's nothing. It's nothing. Ji Yu said. Ji Yu left after that. Nangong Yunshin did not stop Ji Yu. She just stood there and watched Ji Yu leave. She made up her mind that even if it was impossible, she would still follow in Ji Yu's footsteps. She had already joined Bright Moon Ancient City's Alchemist Guild and was determined to make a name for herself in the Alchemy Conference next year. Then, she would head to the Alchemist Guild in the Monarch City to further her studies. Ji Yu had already arrived at the courtyard that Nangong Yu had prepared for him. He was waiting for the City Lord's estate's reaction. Less than an hour later, Nangong Yu sent a message saying that the City Lord's estate had removed all restrictions on the Nangong family and terminated their cooperation with the Wu family. This result was within Ji Yu's expectations. As long as this Bright Moon Ancient City Lord had a normal brain, he would not dare to provoke this mysterious expert with an unknown identity. This matter had more or less come to an end. Ji Yu was also preparing to return to Chaoyang Ancient City. Nangong Yu originally wanted to keep Ji Yu so that his daughter would have more opportunities to interact with Ji Yu. But after careful consideration, he gave up in the end. It was better to let nature take its course. If he was too forceful, it might be counterproductive. Ding! Master has used Lightning Flash. Lightning Flash gained experience. 3000 999x. Ding! Master has used Lightning Flash. Lightning Flash gained experience. 3000 999x. In less than half a day, Ji Yu returned to the city governor's mansion in Chaoyang Ancient City. While guarding Jiang Yuechu and Jiang Yuexin, he was in the room improving the realm of the heaven-splitting technique. The efficiency of the old method of reading cultivation manuals was too slow. Ji Yu used the cultivation manuals to increase the realm of the cultivation manuals. Ding! Master has used heaven splitting. Heaven splitting gained experience. 10,000 999x. Ding! Master has used heaven splitting. Heaven splitting gained experience. 10,000 999x. Ding! Congratulations, Master. The King-level cultivation manual, Heaven Splitting, has successfully broken through to the Mastery realm. Although the cycle of using the Heaven Splitting technique was very long, the efficiency was much faster than the old method of reading cultivation manuals. After 3 days and 3 nights, Ji Yu's Heaven Splitting technique had reached the Mastery realm. Her physique had also advanced to the 5th grade spirit body. Ding! Master has cultivated Celestial Qi for 1 minute. Martial cultivation gained experience. 60 999x. It could be seen that the experience gained from cultivating Celestial Qi had also increased. With the breakthrough in the cultivation manuals, Ji Yu walked out of the room and leisurely strolled in the mansion. Halfway there, he coincidentally bumped into Jiang Zhongtian, who was walking towards him. Ji Yu, I was just about to look for you. Jiang Zhongtian immediately said, I forgot to tell you before, we're going to hold an internal competition today. Are you interested in taking a look? Internal competition? Ji Yu thought for a moment and said, then let's go take a look. It just so happened that he wanted to relax. It was fine to take a look. The fourth and fifth can choose 2 superior second-grade elixirs as their reward. As soon as the head referee said this, many people in the stadium started to become active. The rewards of the grand competition this time had exceeded the expectations of many people. The top 10 were actually able to obtain a high-quality second-grade pill. If it was in the past, the reward for the top 10 would at most be a low-grade Tier 2 pill, or even a Tier 1 pill, plus some useless things. At the same time, the head judge continued to announce the rewards for the top 3 finishers. The person in third place can choose an inferior Tier 3 pill. The second place can choose a medium-grade 3 pill and 10,000 gold coins as a reward. The first place can choose a superior grade 3 elixir and a lesser grade 3 artifact as the reward. This after hearing the head judge's words. Most of the people in the stadium could not help but gasp. The top 3 finishers were directly rewarded with third-grade elixirs, and the first place even had an additional third-grade artifact. Unfortunately, even if they fought tooth and nail, they would not be able to obtain these rewards. They could only daydream. Even GEU was a little surprised when she heard these rewards. However, it was not strange when she thought about it. The governor's mansion had almost unified the entire Chaoyang ancient city. The benefits they could obtain from these families were many times greater than these rewards. In comparison, these rewards were just a drop in the ocean. Most of those families could not see this aspect, and they might even think that the governor's mansion was very generous. To put it bluntly, this time, it was equivalent to giving some benefits to make more people unswervingly loyal. Chapter 332. I feel that the first place in this year's competition will either be Chun Xing from the Chun family or Lin Yun from the Lin family. I think so too. Although the Chun and Lin family suffered heavy losses last time, they still have a strong foundation. Chun Xing and Lin Yun are both prodigies who have risen recently. I feel that Fang Junyi from the Fang family is not bad. I often hear news of her hard work in cultivation. Before the competition officially started, there were already many people predicting the final result. GU's ears automatically filtered out a bunch of useless news. The only thing he heard was someone mentioning Fang Junyi. He immediately realized that Fang Junyi was indeed going to participate in this prefectural grand competition. GU's interest was slightly piqued. He wanted to see if Fang Junyi could get first place in this competition. At this moment, the head judge started to arrange the first round of competition. Every participant would wear a badge on their chest. The badge would have the participant's number written on it. The head judge then drew numbers to match the participants. There were 5 arenas on the field. At the same time, there could be 10 people competing. When the first batch of 10 participants were all in place, the competition immediately started. Ding! Master has watched the competition for 1 minute. Martial cultivation experience gained. Won by 999 times. Ding! Master has watched the competition for 1 minute. Martial cultivation experience gained. Won by 999 times. GU could also gain experience in martial arts cultivation just by watching other people's sparring matches. Although it was very little, it was better than nothing. About 10 minutes later, the first batch of 5 matches were over. The first batch of 10 participants, regardless of whether they won or lost, rested at the side. They would only start again after everyone else had been matched against each other once. There were only slightly more than 100 participants in this year's competition. They were all the elite disciples of the various families. There were fewer people, so the time spent was also shorter. More than half a day passed. Every participant had finished their 10 matches. The first round of competition also ended. Because they were all elite disciples, there was not a single participant who had lost 10 times in a row. However, there was only one person who had managed to win 10 times in a row. That person was Fang Junyi. Fang Junyi's performance this time made GU see her in a new light. It hadn't been long, but Fang Junyi had already broken through from the peak of Defensive Profound Realm Level 2 to the late stage of Defensive Profound Realm Level 3. Such a rapid improvement was not in vain for him to put in so much effort for Fang Junyi in the Demonic Beast Mountain Range. With a cultivation base of late third level of the defensive profound realm, he would naturally be able to sweep through everything in this kind of small-scale house grand tournament. Ji took a good look at them. Other than Fang Junyi, the strongest person was only at the early stage of the third level of the defensive profound realm. The rest of them were not even at the third level of the defensive profound realm. Speaking of which, Jiang Yuechu and Jiang Yuexin just so happened to have gone to receive the inheritance. Otherwise, if the two of them were here, they would be able to massacre everyone. Fang Junyi's astonishing performance naturally attracted Jiang Zhongtian's attention. Jiyu, if I remember correctly, that Fang Junyi seems to be holding a grudge against you, Jiang Zhongtian said to Jiyu through telepathy. Many people in the city lord's residence already knew that Fang Junyi treated Jiyu as an enemy who would not rest until she killed her. As for why no one came to find trouble with Fang Junyi, it was because there were some random rumors that said that City Lord Ji liked to flirt with Fang Junyi. That was why Fang Junyi flew into a rage out of humiliation. Since he liked to flirt with her, it was obvious that he was interested in her. That would be a big deal. Who would dare to touch the woman that City Lord Ji had chosen? However, no one would bother to find out if such rumors were true or not. As long as there was even a little bit of truth, they would treat it seriously. As such, for such a long time, Fang Junyi had almost never met with any trouble. Jiang Zhongtian also knew about these things, which was why he mentioned Fang Junyi to Jiyu. To be honest, he was also quite concerned about whether Jiyu was really like what the rumors said and had ulterior motives towards Fang Junyi. Chapter 333. Well, you could say that. Fang Junyi had been clamoring for revenge, so Jiyu didn't deny it. Then what do you think of Fang Junyi? Jiang Zhongtian tried to change the topic. Nothing much. Jiyu replied casually. Air. Jiyu's reply immediately cut off Jiang Zhongtian's intentions, leaving him a loss for words. Since he couldn't bring up the topic naturally, Jiang Zhongtian could only give up. At the same time, the second round of the competition had already begun. It was the defending stage. There were only 30 contestants left. The top 5 contestants from the first round appeared first. They were Fang Junyi, Chen Xing, Lin Yun, Zhang Wudong, and Zhang Wuming. The 5 of them went to 5 different stages to defend the stage. The one who lasted until the end would be the winner, while the rest of the contestants would be ranked according to the number of matches they had won. Jiyu felt that there was no suspense in the final result. Fang Junyi would most likely win first place. He couldn't be bothered to watch this kind of child's play, so he settled down to cultivate his celestial qi ding. Master cultivated celestial qi for 1 minute. Martial cultivation obtained experience points, 60 by 999 times. Ding. Master cultivated celestial qi for 1 minute. Martial cultivation obtained experience points, 60 by 999 times. Time slowly passed, and the competition also came to an end. In the end, the one who defended the longest was indeed Fang Junyi. The other contestants all knew that there was a large gap between them and Fang Junyi. They would only be asking for trouble if they challenged her, so they might as well challenge the other weaker champions. After the final results were out, Jiang Zhongtian personally went to hand out the rewards. When Fang Junyi was receiving her rewards, she also took a look at Jiyu. After the competition ended, Jiyu strolled around the mansion for a while before returning to her room. The next day, Nangong Maching came to visit. He said that the Nangong family head had overlooked something last time, so he specially sent Nangong Maching to present a generous gift. This is a small token of our sincerity. Nangong Maching handed a storage ring to Jiyu. Jiyu didn't dawdle and directly accepted the storage ring. Ding! Master has activated his spiritual power to open a 3rd grade storage ring. Bronze level spiritual power. Experience gained, 1 by 999 times. Discovering that this was a 3rd grade storage ring indicated that the Nangong family was indeed quite sincere. Currently, the highest grade storage ring on Jiyu's body was only of the 3rd grade. Jiyu glanced through the contents of the storage ring. Perhaps Nangong knew that Jiyu was not short of money, so there was not a single gold coin in the storage ring. Instead, there were all kinds of pills and alchemy materials, as well as some special pill recipes. The Nangong clan was an alchemy clan to begin with, so these things were not a problem. What Ji was more interested in were those pill formulas. She would take a closer look at them when she returned. Then I'll have to trouble you to thank the Nangong family head on my behalf when you return. After accepting the storage ring, Ji said to Nangong Maching, "Are you going to chase me back so soon?" Nangong Maching's eyes flickered with a hint of resentment. No, Ji was a little confused and said, "If you don't go back, are you going to stay here?" He thought that he didn't say anything wrong. "It's not easy for me to come here. Aren't you going to take me somewhere?" Nangong Maching said. "Where's there to go?" Ji really didn't understand this guy. Nangong Maching couldn't help but be a little speechless. He had already said so much, but Ji still didn't say anything. "Anywhere is fine." Nangong Maching's tone was a little tired. "Then let me think about it first." After saying that, Ji began to think. He was thinking about which places in Chaoyang Ancient City were more fun. After a while, he could only think of one place that was barely good, and that was the Monster Beast Mountain Range. Although there were dangerous monsters living in the Monster Beast Mountain Range, there were still some places that were very good. "I know, the Monster Beast Mountain Range is not bad." Ji then said, "If you're really bored, why don't you take a walk over there?" In his opinion, Nangong Maching was purely bored. After saying that, Ji turned around and was ready to go back to his residence. "Wait." But this time, Nangong Maching called Ji. "Are you going to let me go alone?" "What else?" Ji replied with a matter-of-fact look. The next moment, he reacted, "Do you want me to go with you?" This time, Nangong Maching was completely speechless. She didn't know what to say to Ji. Until now, she realized that this guy was so rigid. Chapter 334. Of course, Nangong Maching was unwilling to go to a place like the Demon Beast Mountain Range alone. "Then what do you want?" Seeing Nangong Maching shake his head, Ji asked helplessly, "Can't you take me to familiarize myself with your Chaoyang Ancient City?" Nangong Maching said bitterly. Ji was speechless. He really felt strange. Why did he have to go with him? But after a while, Ji compromised. "Okay, I'll take you to familiarize yourself with it." Anyway, he was quite leisurely now, so he didn't lack time. "Then let's go." Nangong Maching's next move was bold beyond Ji expectation. She directly held Ji arm, looking very intimate. This guy, Ji couldn't help but feel a little surprised. But he didn't say anything and let Nangong Maching hold him and leave the city lord's mansion. At this moment, Ji had already followed Nangong Maching to the street. Along the way, the passers-by who passed by them turned their heads. Of course, it was definitely not because of Ji. After all, Ji's white robe covered his face. Then, there was no doubt that it was Nangong Maching. Although Nangong Maching's face was covered with a veil, it couldn't hide his exquisite facial features. His cold and arrogant temperament made people even more reluctant to leave. Anyone could see that this was a beauty that could topple cities, especially such a cold and arrogant beauty, but like a little woman holding someone's arm. Almost everyone wanted to know who this wretched white-robed man was. Feeling envy, jealousy, resentment, and countless other negative emotions cast on him, Ji was completely speechless. On the other hand, although Nangong Maching didn't have any expression on his face, he seemed to be enjoying it. He seriously suspected that this guy was deliberately doing this to make him the target of public criticism. "Tonghalu!" Selling Tonghalu. Right at this moment, he heard a shout. It turned out that there was a child selling candied haws not far away. It was a little girl. Her clothes were simple and plain, and her tender face revealed a trace of delicacy. "I want to buy a stick of candied haws." At this moment, Nangong Maching suddenly spoke. Ji didn't say anything and just nodded slightly. However, Nangong Maching still did not intend to let go of his hand. He pulled Ji and walked over together. Walking closer, Ji was surprised to find that this little girl was actually the girl she had rescued from the bandit camp outside Snowwind Ancient City. Compared to that time, the little girl in front of him was very clean. It was obvious that she was living a good life now. He didn't know why this little girl would come to Chuyang ancient city from so far away. Little girl, give me a stick of Tonghalu. Nangong Maching's expression was still cold, but his tone was slightly gentler. All right, the little girl answered and then picked a stick of Tonghalu and handed it to the customer in front of her. At this time, she subconsciously looked up and was surprised. What a beautiful big sister. You will be very beautiful when you grow up, Nangong Maching said in a gentle tone. Thank you, big sister. The little girl smiled happily. Here, after taking the stick of Tonghalu, Nangong Maching immediately gave the little girl a gold coin. This is too much. The little girl almost jumped out of her skin in fright and repeatedly refused. It's okay. Just take it as a gift from big sister. Nangong Maching directly put the gold coin into the little girl's hand. The little girl was flattered. After hesitating for a while, she finally accepted the gold coin. At this time, the little girl noticed the man in a white robe next to Nangong Maching. She couldn't help but ask, "Is this big sister's husband?" Even if she couldn't see the other person's face, she could see that it should be a man. However, just when Ji was about to deny it, Nangong Maching answered first. Yes, he is my husband. With that, Nangong Maching deliberately held Ji-Yu's arm tighter with a faint smile on his face. You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.